If you've ever made weekend plans for a Thursday, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. This, the Wednesday, June 18th edition. It's basically a synthetic Friday because we have tomorrow off, and then we come back on Friday for a session that's might be volatile, might be low volume. We'll see how it goes. Got some stuff to break down here today. And of course, the big event, we've got the FOMC today. So we're going to get pumping Powell. What color tie is Powell going to have? What's he going to say? Is he absolutely going to trash the market? Are we going to rip today? Or is it just going to be much ado about nothing? We'll go ahead and break that down. Benzinga's pre-market playbook for Wednesday, June 18th, starts right now. Good morning and welcome back, everybody. Happy Wednesday. I hope you all had a wonderful Tuesday evening, and congrats to the Florida Panthers for being back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. That is a very, very strong team. And after losing in 2023 to the Vegas Golden Knights, they responded to adversity by coming back and winning back-to-back championships. That's how true champions perform. So hats off to the Florida Panthers. I am sad that hockey's gone now, so we're just going to have to live with baseball until football season starts. We'll be okay. Anyway, great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here today. Peter, good morning. Great to see you again. Kayla, good morning. Welcome back. Reaching Financial Freedom, good morning. It's good to see you again. Paul, good morning as always. How's the futures market treating you, Paul? How you doing out there? Good to see you again, my man. Thanks for all your support. Crimp Biscuit, good morning. Humpties. It is hump day, but it's like technically hump day, but like not really hump day because we're off tomorrow. We're making plans. What are your plans, folks, for the day off? I'm curious. Mama Bear checking in. Let's go. Well, how's the what do they call a pack of bears? Is it a pack? Probably not. Anyway, how are the little bears and all the other bears in your family? Great to see you, Mama Bear. Welcome back. Shanlu Trading. Morning, everyone. Let's make some money for the holiday. I can get on board with that. That sounds good. Good morning, Shanley. Welcome back. Zach McCracken, of course, checking in. Welcome back. Couch Potato, welcome back. ATL Russ, locked in. Russ, I can't remember. Are you a baseball fan? What's going on with the Braves? I feel like the Braves are a top team, and they're kind of underperforming this year. I don't watch a lot of games, so I might have an ignorant opinion. You let me know. EKS, JBL plus 9% on earnings beat and raised guidance. Gains in AI and data centers. Welcome back, EKS. Good morning. Wiss, good morning. Graf, good morning. Producer, you do a great job every day, my man. Thank you very much. Bernhard, welcome back. Day Trader, locked in. Let's go. Javon, welcome back. Good morning. Ben, good morning. Kerching, good morning. Sideshow, good morning. Quantum, Jonathan, and Neville, good morning. Buffalo by Bicycle, Florida Pond Hockey. Is there such a thing? When is Florida ever frozen over? Good morning, Buffalo by Bicycle. Neville says, I work across the street from Panther Stadium. I got to ask you, is it a big party down there? Because the few pictures I saw from the celebration looked like everybody was having fun in Sunrise, Florida. So you let me know if it's a big party down there. I would imagine it is. Dermo, good morning. James Bond, perhaps one of the best YouTube handles. This is just one of the best names ever. Bond, James Bond, good morning. Welcome back. Captain Cloudy, good morning. Jane, welcome back. It's good to see you as always. Jonathan, welcome back. Jay Channel, good morning. Born and bred Oilers fan, but yeah, hats off to the Panthers. They really put on a clinic. Look, Jay, I'm a born and raised Chicago Blackhawks fan, and I was still rooting for the Edmonton Oilers. I really want to see McDavid get one because he's the best player in hockey, but hot damn, those Florida Panthers, they're really good. Remember, that was the team built by Coach Quenneville before he got fired. Creation, good morning. Welcome back. Peggy, we all in the house. Yes, we are. Welcome back, Peggy. Brandy, good morning. It's good to see you again. Let's see. Bobby, good morning. Chuck, good morning. Ryan, good morning. Dan, good morning. Kayla saying NBA. So I'm going to watch the end of that series. I think the Pacers are probably done. I feel like they tried to give it everything, and OKC's just too good. The one thing I will say about the NBA, both of those teams have never won a championship. So one of those teams getting their first ever championship. That's exciting. That's exciting for the city and the fans. So I'm happy about that, I suppose. Dan, good morning. Sean, good morning. Quoting Top Gun already. I don't know what that means, but good morning. Gabrielle, good morning. Rooster, good morning. Ed, good morning. And JJ, good morning. Let's go ahead and dive in. We're going to start here with the SPY chart, and then we'll take a look at you know what? Actually, I'm going to flip that up. We're going to flip the script a little bit. Let me start with the morning update. All right, futures mixed here. They were actually lower this morning and then have gone red to green. Frankly, none of this matters until we get the Fed decision, because that's going to determine where the market closes here today. I kind of joke around about the color of Powell's tie having an impact on the market, but it is what it is. So the Fed meeting here today, the press conference afterwards, I think that's going to determine where we end up going. But nice to see us a little bit of green arrows here in the pre-market. And again, this is up off of the lows. We do get the Fed interest rate decision. We're not expecting any surprises there. Of course, we've talked about this leading up to this for a while. Nothing, no surprises expected, but we'll see what the language and the tone is like. I'm sure we're going to read through everything as we normally do. We do get initial jobless claims this morning, so we'll see what that print does for the pre-market, and then maybe even the opening print. And then as far as other data points that we should be paying attention to, we do get gasoline and crude data today, and we want to see if that is going to keep trading up. That actually does have some implications for inflation. So we'll see how that goes here. And then obviously, 2 p.m., the decision, 2:30 is going to be the press conference. Now, a couple of other things on deck here today. Yes, there are a bunch of different events, but I don't know how important these are going to be. And I'm not sure if these are even really covering stocks that our group is really kind of following. So we do have some conferences coming up. The 18th today, this is a big one, an Investors Day, a general meeting, a Jefferies Consumer Confidence. If you guys want to take a look at any of these, you let me know. It didn't seem like any of these were really kind of popular amongst our group, so just a cursory mention. There is some stuff going on in the IPO market today. So for those of you gunslingers out there, we do have a couple of IPOs. AXIN priced at 10. This is going to IPO here today. PACH. This also priced at 10. Both of those have units that are going to IPO with them. Egg, which is Enigmatic Limited, that priced at 4. That's going to IPO here today. Carl's Life Sciences, CAI, this priced between 19 and 20. That's going to IPO here today. And Slide, ticker SLDE, Slide Insurance Holdings, priced between 15 and 17. And that is going to IPO today. So 5 IPOs here today. I don't have a line on any of these. I'm not waiting for any of these. I have no plans as of now to trade any of these, but of course we'll see what happens and how the day unfolds. We'll see when they also release. That's going to be the other thing. The big event today is clearly the Fed decision and Powell, and I wonder how much coverage or how many eyeballs these IPOs are going to have. But nonetheless, there is quite a bit on the slate here for today. Earnings for today, I don't really think there's anything crazy here. Korn Ferry is reporting earnings. Nothing here that really interests me. I guess Aurora Cannabis, for those of you that might be in the cannabis trade right here, they report earnings. Or they did. Actually, let me see if those are actually out. They were scheduled to report this morning. They are out. ACB trading lower here into a 4 handle. Now, analyst initiations. There were some initiations here today. I will say, for any of you that joined the webinar with Anne-Marie and Tim last night, I really liked it. I thought we had a great discussion about the market dynamics. And one of the things that we're doing in that nighttime webinar series, we're going to start using the tools here and showing you how to come up with trades just using the tools. So last night, we actually spent time looking for different trends using the scanner. We reviewed some of the news, and then we had Anne-Marie spin up some option trades if just outright buying the stock wasn't a crafty enough idea for a trade. We're going to look to continue to do this here going forward in some of these webinars. We got a really good response from the viewership. And so we're going to keep that up. Now, the reason I'm mentioning that is because one of the stocks that we uncovered from that scan was actually Marvell, ticker MRVL. This is a popular one amongst our group here. I know a lot of people will often ask about Marvell here, being a semiconductor, the whole AI angle. You guys know all of that. So it's very interesting because sorry about that. That trade that we kind of gave away yesterday is already working. Benchmark going to buy here, $95 price target. Marvell up 2.44% here in the pre-market. So pretty awesome to see that. Pretty good timing. We do have a couple of this CBIO and CDTX. I feel like we've traded these before off the movers list. Same with ARDX. Of course, we had Verve here. They had the news there from yesterday. IMRX is on here. I feel like we see this one occasionally on the relative volume scanner. So that got another an analyst initiation here. That one coming from Needham, which is a firm that I do enjoy. So there are some interesting initiations here. We'll see how that plays out throughout the course of the day. As far as the downgrades, again, Verve going to be the only one on there. Buffalo by Bicycles is still in. Marvell, good. That's good. How do we connect to those webinars, Ryan? Thanks. I'll go ahead and start posting those in the show here. Again, the next one, looking ahead here real quick, the next one is not going to be until July 1st, so we have plenty of time. I'll go ahead and post the registration link. They're 100% free. Just to be clear here, these are not paid webinars. They're literally the only thing you pay with is your time. In fact, we had a couple of people from the chat yesterday saying, how are these webinars free? As if they should have been charged. And again, just to kind of not to toot our own horn, but maybe to toot our own horn a little bit here, the whole ethos for Benzinga is to try and raise the tide for the retail investor. We're trying to give the retail investor as many advantages as possible. And the great part about having multiple subscription products is that we're able to do things for free without having to nickel and dime viewers and customers for every single thing. So anyway, I'm just hoping people get stuff out of that. Tim and Anne Marie are absolutely fantastic. And we're going to talk with Tim here today. So anyway, that's the morning report. That's what's going on. Let's go ahead and take a look at the actual chart. There's not a whole lot new going on here. This is very, very similar to what we've been reviewing every single day. We are holding above the 20-day moving average. That's fantastic. It does look like we're kind of getting a little heavy up here. There's obvious headlines weighing on the market, geopolitical headlines. We've covered that a lot. You folks are well aware of that. Very, very clear that that's having an impact here. But so far, we really haven't had terrible price action. We've absolutely held above the 593 to 595 level. We've really actually held 597 so far. I know we dipped below that in the after hours yesterday, but we very quickly got back above that. And so we'll see here today what ends up happening from the Fed decision. Do we stay in this range? Do we break down? Do we get some bad rhetoric? Maybe talk about keeping rates higher for longer? We're going to get the dot plot today, as we've discussed. So do we see less interest rate cuts in 2025? I would imagine if that's what we see, the market probably pulls back a little bit. And I wouldn't be surprised if it tests some of these levels that we're looking at. That 20-day moving average that I just mentioned, right at 594.20. You can call it 594 if you want. And then, of course, we have this downward sloping trend line. If we test that today, that value's at about 589. It's about 588.5 tomorrow, and which we're closed on. And then Friday here, it's about 588.5 still. So this 588.5 level, this could also provide potential support if we trade back down. The two big levels that I'd be looking at in the event of a pullback here, the 582.30 level, which again corresponds to 5% pullback from the all-time highs, as well as the 200-day moving average there at 579. Now, the other thing that's going on here right now, and it's becoming, with each passing day, it's becoming a little bit more clear to us. We do have this 50-day curling back up because of this big move that we had off the April 7th or the Liberation Day lows. So my thought here is that if we really don't break down and we get any type of positive trade, especially if we break out from this, what was this? The top end of this value, 505.06. If we break out from that level, I mean, it's almost a certainty that this 50-day moving average is going to creep up and give us a golden cross as it crosses through the 200. Now, we spent a lot of time talking with 13 about how impactful golden crosses and death crosses are, and sometimes they work and sometimes they don't, this and that. And when you get these crosses swinging back and forth pretty quickly, they have less and less impact. Nonetheless, this is coming here, so we'll see if this provides any type of chart relief or chart catalyst for moving higher. Now, that's pretty much where we're at with the SPY. Let's dive into some of the news. I just want to go through a little bit of this, and then we'll get over to Tim Melvin when he shows up here. Let me see. Who did I miss here? Michael, Stock Trader for Life, Quantum, C-Dub, good morning, everybody. Aristoc, good morning, of course. Honey Badger, good morning. Yasin, it's great to see you again. Dan, Nick, good morning. Ralph, good morning. All Zorts, good morning. I think I hit everybody here. Big Bees, I might have missed you there. Good morning. BZ Films, I like the handle. Great morning. I like the attitude. Good morning. Welcome here. I hope everyone is doing well. Netta, good morning as well. Chris, good morning. It's great to see you again. All right. Daniel, good morning. Interlingua. I love it. It just rolls off the tongue. I absolutely love it. Okay. U.S. stocks likely to open higher despite the unconditional surrender call. There is some rhetoric going on with Iran right now online that definitely had the market spooked yesterday. Totally understand. But so far, nothing has happened yet. I'm going to knock on wood, and I'm going to kind of hedge my bet there. U.S. futures were trading higher on Wednesday as oil futures tumbled after President Trump called for a, quote, unconditional surrender of Iran late Tuesday. Trump also stated in one of his Truth Social posts that the U.S. knows exactly where Iran's supreme leader was hiding. Trump called him the so-called supreme leader. I lolled at that a little bit, highlighting that he was, quote, an easy target, end quote. I got to say, I don't know how I'd feel if I had the president of any nation, let alone the United States, being like, yeah, we know where he is. It's not really a good hiding spot. Like, that would cause me to shape up. That being said, I wouldn't be in the position that they're in right now. But nonetheless, we'll see how this shakes out. Meanwhile, investors expect the Federal Reserve to hold rates steady at 4.25 to 4.5 on Wednesday to wait and see the impact of tariffs on the economy. Now, shout out to our entire group here because you guys have pretty much been on top of this for a while, right? We've been talking here about how we haven't seen the tariff inflation yet. But you guys have been very quick to remind everybody that we're really not going to expect to see that maybe for the next couple of prints. So the most recent inflation print that we had was actually very positive. The next one might include more tariff stuff, so we'll see how that. We're going to not get too excited too early. We're not going to do an early victory lap. We're going to wait for that to come out. We will see. And we're totally expecting the Fed to say the same thing here today. Wait and see. We're not gonna do anything early. Quick check in on the Treasury market. The 10-year bond yielded 4.38, so that's not climbing anymore. That's great. The 2-year bond was at 3.94. The short end of the curve there, doing what we had hoped it was going to do. Analysts at BlackRock stated that uncertainty around the economic impact of tariffs and inflation volatility will keep the Fed on hold for now. Great call there, BlackRock. This is a mind bender. We've all been calling for this for a while. No surprises there. They go on to say, quote, longer-term persistent inflation pressures from tariffs and a light labor market will likely limit how far the Fed can cut, even if tariff-driven supply disruptions dent growth. Analysts also anticipated that long-term U.S. bond yields can rise, keeping them underweight. BlackRock reiterated that its preferred inflation-linked bonds, quote, even if they are yet to reflect long-term inflation pressures. Quote, we favor infrastructure equity like stakes in airports and data centers. It returns the buffered... Its returns are buffered from inflation and it outperforms amid supply constraints and high inflation. Private markets are complex and not suitable for all investors. Tariffs and any sustained oil price rise from the Israel-Iran conflict could leave other central banks facing weaker global growth. Quote, should the conflict affect the security of critical trade routes, supply disruptions could add to inflation pressures. This is why the talk about the Strait of Hormuz being closed, that was just an empty threat from the paper tiger Iran, obviously. But this is why we're kind of monitoring that. We talked a little bit about some of the jamming going on from the military yesterday with Anne-Marie. We think the Fed will keep rates steady as it waits for tariff impacts to materialize. Mega forces keep us overweight U.S. stocks. That would be my counter here. Where else are you going to go? If you're not going to be in U.S. stocks, where else are you going to go? If you guys have idea, I would love to hear it. Ed Yardeni highlighted the latest summary of economic projections, which will be released later today, along with the Fed's decision on interest rates. Quote, odds are that median economic forecasts will show slow economic growth with a slight increase in the unemployment rate and modest short-term uptick in inflation, all mostly consequences of President Trump's tariffs and now the war between Israel and Iran. He added that the SEP is likely to signal a couple of small cuts in the federal funds rate in the coming months, but Powell will certainly reiterate that the FOMC is in no hurry to do so. None of this comes as a surprise. We're kind of expecting all of that. Okay, that's all I got for this one here. I did really quickly want to talk about MSTR. You know what we'll do is we'll actually go back to the chart here first. I haven't actually made a trade on MSTR in a while. And this is why, right? We're just kind of going sideways here. I would love for this to make another move towards 500. I'd like to catch some of that, frankly. This would actually be something I'd consider holding overnight. I felt really good about the potential setup. But here's the chart, kind of in no man's land. We are basically about 10 points, 11 points beneath that 383.40 level that we have identified that's clearly been a key level going all the way back to November of last year. If we take a look here at the story real quick, the MicroStrategy, operating under the Strategy brand, has expanded its Bitcoin treasury to almost 600,000 Bitcoin. 592,100 is the actual number, following a $1 billion purchase funded primarily through its Stride preferred stock offering. The corporate Bitcoin treasury company completed the acquisition last week using its proceeds from an upsized $1 billion perpetual preferred stock issuance. Was reported by The Block. TD Cowen analyst said the STRD, or Stride preferred stock offerings, will, quote, prove highly accretive, end quote, to MSTR shareholders and establishes a channel for future high yield flows into Bitcoin. Strategy's latest preferred instrument offers a fixed 10% non-cumulative annual dividend and ranks below the company's senior preferred shares, but above common equity, according to the report. Excuse me. The STRD product joins Strategy's existing preferred offerings, convertible STRK with an 8% dividend, and non-convertible STRF with a 10% cumulative dividend. Saylor targets a long-term average leverage ratio of 20 to 30% through fixed income securities as part of the company's 4242 plan to raise $84 billion through 2027 for Bitcoin acquisition. The preferred stock strategy capitalizes on what Saylor describes as to the Financial Times as a, quote, quadratically reflexive engineered instrument. Okay, end quote. That allows Strategy to issue shares at premiums to Bitcoin's value, effectively acquiring Bitcoins for discounts. So I'm sure we're going to hear from the bears on this pretty soon. I'm really hoping that we get a killer podcast with Saylor and somebody else. Maybe I'll just keep dreaming. I don't know, but that's one of the things that I'm waiting for here. Damn, what a word salad. That was my thought here first, too. I was like, man, oh man, I'm not even following half of this. Indeed, it's a word salad. I do like MSTR though, but I don't have a position at the moment. I'll keep you updated if that changes. One more thing here before we get to Tim Melvin today. I'm actually really excited to see what Tim has for us here today. He didn't give me any hints yesterday when we talked. We just did our webinar. So I'm excited to hear what he has to say today. But one more thing here. You didn't think you were going to get through the news block here without a robotaxi story, did you? I hope not, because you're going to be awfully disappointed. Alphabet's self-driving taxi service Waymo has announced it will serve multiple new areas in California. Maybe pick a different state. The company took to social media to announce the expansion of its services on Tuesday, starting today in San Francisco, with new areas coming to LA later this week, Waymo said in the post. Areas in the Bay Area include Brisbane, South San Francisco, Millbrae, Burlingame, and San Bruno, as well as Menlo Park and Silicon Valley. While in Los Angeles, the service could now be available in Inglewood and the Silver Lake areas. No word if they're going to use the vandalized Waymos that just happened. The expansion comes after Waymo's temporarily ceased operations in downtown Los Angeles following the anti-ICE riots, which led to vandalism of the Waymo fleet with over 5 autonomous taxis damaged. Despite this, Waymo remains a key player in the U.S. robotaxi race, having recently reached the 10 million paid autonomous ride milestone. Elsewhere, Tesla is gearing up for its launch of its own robotaxi service in Austin on June 22nd as Elon Musk's Cybercab ambitions begin to take shape. Now, one more thing here on the other side real quick. Tesla vehicle production cost 1/7 that of Waymo. 1/7 of Waymo, Elon Musk's EV giant, closer to full autonomy than the competition. I tried to tell you, folks. I tried to tell you. Tesla is reportedly closer to achieving fully autonomous driving than its competitors like Alphabet, autonomous driving company. This is per new data. Quote, if you can produce the cars at a fraction of the price, you can get more of these vehicles out on the road, end quote. Bloomberg's intelligence Steve Mann said on Monday. Mann also said that Tesla's technology, as well as the EV giant's camera-based approach to autonomous driving, can help the company scale quicker than the competitors. Oh, I'm so glad that somebody else is finally saying that there. That's awesome. Well, Ed Ludlow, who co-hosts Bloomberg's Technology, also shared some data on the social media platform X on Monday. Quote, Tesla full self-driving technology, while classified as level 2 like most other vehicle offerings, autonomous features, could be closer to reaching full autonomy than its peers. It also highlighted how the company has data from over 3 billion miles compared to Waymo's 22 million miles, as well as a fleet size of 35,000, in contrast to Waymo, which does not have its own manufactured fleet. So as I said before, the scale is one of the big things that is going to allow Tesla to overtake this. It might have appeared that Waymo was in the lead, but realistically, not in the lead. Data from Bloomberg Intelligence comes as Elon Musk's company prepares for the rollout of its highly anticipated taxi service in Austin, which Musk said could tentatively be available to the public from June 22nd. What could also give a major boost, not just to Musk, but the autonomous vehicle sector as a whole, is the announcement from the NHTSA which states that the agency will provide exemptions from U.S. safety standards for companies. We've talked about how that's going to look. Unsure how that's actually going to pan out here. However, while things look good for Tesla and Musk, the full self-driving tech may still need some work, as recently a Tesla Model 3 was struck by a train, as it reportedly got stuck on a railroad track while on full self-driving. That's about the most terrifying thing I've ever heard. The news comes as data recently released by Bloomberg also showcases that Tesla's full self-driving tech experienced a significantly lower number of accidents than the U.S. national average per million miles driven. So, okay, we'll see how this all shakes out. Day trader, I know you're betting on Waymo. I'm betting on Tesla. We shall see how this shakes out. Jonathan, thank you. Market data due here in 2 minutes. So what we're going to do prior to getting that market data, we're going to welcome on Tim Melvin, and we're going to see how he's doing here today. Tim, how you doing here today?
Oh, Ryan, we're going to start with a poll today, guys.
Uh-oh.
I want everybody to type into the chat who you think was the underwriter on that garbage preferred deal that MicroStrategy just did. Come
I
on,
don't
guys.
even know the answer to this. Well, let me ask you, do you just want to see the chat flooded with comments, or should we actually put up a poll, which we do on a regular basis?
No, because look, if you're following markets at all, kids, okay, this one's the easiest question you've ever been asked in your life.
But boy, way to make me feel crappy.
Okay. Who made all the great, wonderful comments about how safe and wonderful this thing is? TD Cowen. TD Cowen is, of course, they're saying nice things about it. They just sold a whole pile of this garbage to the public. Look, MicroStrategy is not going to end well. You're using borrowed money. You're diluting the hell out of your stock with convertible issues. Now you've gone to word salads, right? And
that's what one of the viewers said.
Right. The more five-syllable words that you put in to your description of this exciting new security that your company has just issued, the greater the chances that somebody's going to lose a house in this deal. So,
okay, look, I'm going to just throwing this out there. I don't know if I'm going to be successful in this, but maybe we can get a Michael Saylor, Tim Melvin debate time. How awesome would that be? Would you be down for that?
I mean, sure. I'm going to call, I'm going to put a call into Berkshire Hathaway and to get their guys to write my commentary for me. But look, I'm not even making a statement on Bitcoin here yet. Okay. You're leveraging up to buy speculative assets and call it safe. That's not how this works. I've been doing this since the 80s. I've seen the movie before, right? Whether it was junk bonds or real estate or oil and gas in the 70s, when you lever up to buy the popular risk asset, it goes boom. Now, am I right or wrong? I don't know, but the insiders are selling the hell out of the stock. And you look, I see that this guy bought a few shares, and I look down and I see it 2 months ago, he sold that times 10. So there's a whole bunch of insider selling going on. And if this deal was great and fantastic and going to the moon, nobody would sell a share. They wouldn't even think about selling a share.
The recent transaction I have are all buys.
Sure. Now go down and look at those same insiders further down the list.
Andrew Kang, he was selling.
Yeah, it's
sold at 257, bought at 229.
Yeah, so I'm skeptical, very skeptical. Like I said, I've been doing this since the 80s. I've seen this before. They're leveraging up with weird securities. They can't, the bond market's just gone, we're out. The banks have gone, no, you're out. You've lost your mind. So now we're getting into the kinky preferreds. Okay? And when we get into the kinky preferreds, it's all downhill from here. All right. That's true. And that's true in most marriages, markets, whatever it is. When you get into the kinky stuff, it's almost over. Okay.
Life lessons with Tim Melvin here this morning. It didn't have that on my bingo card, but congrats, everybody. That's where we're at. Okay. Tim, first of all, Bobby's saying, I really like this guest. We like when Tim comes in hot on Wednesdays. We like that. Even if we agree or disagree, Tim, we like when you come in hot. What do you got for us here today?
Well, I mean, we've touched on a lot of this. I mean, there's a lot of concerns about what's going to happen in Iran this week.
Tim, let me pause you. Sorry, let me pause you. I shouldn't have done this. This is my fault. The data print that we were waiting for, U.S. jobless claims 245,000 versus the 246,000 estimate. We also got building permits for May, 1.39 million versus the 1.42 estimate. Housing starts 1.25 versus 1.35 estimate. Looks like the market not really responding to this. If anything, S&P futures ticking down slightly, but still holding on to green. Okay, Tim, sorry about that. Had to get that data print out there. What do you got for us?
Yeah, it's we don't know what's going to happen here. My suspicion, as I told you last night, is that we loaned them some bunker busters to take care of that. But as it sits right now, as long as this doesn't spread from a market point of view, as long as the oil fields don't get bombed, this may not be that big a deal. Okay,
we're all hoping for that.
And it's as I've said 100 times, this is all either going to show up in price or it's going to show up in value. It's not really showing up in either place at this point in time. So now I don't have as much for you this week as I usually do, Ryan.
Can I start off with a question then?
Sure.
Okay, I did see this one earlier. Thinking about it, he always has a question here because he's been a long time Tim Melvin viewer. Ryan, please ask Tim about PSEC. Is this in trouble or is this a buy for the long term? PSEC, that's a monthly dividend payer.
That's a monthly dividend business development company that's been around forever. Now they're redeeming an issue of preferred. They're continuing to pay out cash. The CEO is going to buy this thing all the way into the dirt. John Barry's been buying, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of stock each and every month.
Chart looks awful, I will say.
The chart's awful. The portfolio is not great. I think they've got a lot of PIK securities in the portfolio at this point. I kind of think that, you need to back away from this one. I would not add here. The market is telling you there's something wrong inside this portfolio. I think
so Tim, listen, let me ask you then I know you can't give advice. You can't tell people what to do. Of course, that's not what we do. But when you look at a situation like this, where you're holding something long-term for the dividend payout, how do you then readjust your position? Do you just cut it and move on and take your losses, lick your wounds and move on?
I think in this instance, because there are special shareholder meetings, and I'm going to qualify with this as I haven't done a deep dive on this in a little bit now.
Okay.
I want to get into the portfolio. I really want to dig into it. I want to know what the hell's going on here because something's going on in that loan portfolio. So I want to be way deep down into this thing and figure out exactly what's happening with the portfolio. Barry is the one thing I will say. John Barry is not buying $100,000 worth of stock every 2 to 3 days because he thinks it's garbage. I mean, he just bought $1 million worth of stock. And by the way, these are open market purchases, not stock grants. So,
oh my,
yeah. I mean, if you look at the amount of money this guy is continually putting into the stock, he's not doing it because he's stupid. So that makes me go, well, wait a minute. And then I see another director buying a little bit of stock. And I see the chief operator buying some stock. And I'm like, all right, what the hell is going on here? This guy owns 82 million shares of this stock. I have to believe that he's not going to ride it to zero. And if he thought it was going to zero, he would be looking for some way to execute a transaction. Got him out with at least his shoes and socks. That's not the case. He's continuing to commit capital. So that's my big second guesser here. Okay. But I'm not running to do this until I've been deep into the loan portfolio here. And I've been on the phone with the folks at the company, and I've talked to the few analysts that still cover this thing. Raymond James hasn't issued a report on this since 2021. They're kind of the Axe and BDCs these days. So I kind of want to know exactly everything that's going on, and I haven't done a super deep dive. So
okay, so holding pattern requires more research, but don't add at these levels. Something's up.
Yeah, so something's good. The chart's terrible, and it just keeps falling and falling and falling. And while BDCs have been a little bit weak because of fears of a weaker economy, that's excessive. So
okay. So thinking about it, let me know. That should be your answer there. Shout out to you, Big B, saying that's called a death spiral. That's sure what it looks like, and that's what has everybody worried here. Lion Atlas, shout out to you. I pass on PSEC. Chart looks very bad. Indeed, it does. And actually, Lion, if I'm not mistaken, at the end of March, beginning of April here, right before those tariffs, I think you also said that PSEC was not something on your radar, and since then it's fallen almost $1 from that. So shout out to you, Lion, on that call. Looks like that one was the right one. Okay, thinking about it, saying Stillwell kept buying Wheeler, didn't work out for him.
Well, I think it might have, because I'm pretty sure Joe had a bunch of the debt too, and that's you see the common buys when they're buying stuff all the way down. You don't know. I think he came out of that okay, but you're right. Look, that chart is saying there's something going on here that we don't know about. And unless you know about it, you need to get deep inside this thing. So anyway, I don't know what MBOT is, but
That's okay. MBOT's an Israeli drone company. We'll take a look at that when we do the
no.
movers. You don't need to worry
Yeah.
about that one. Robert,
Okay.
we'll get to that here in a little bit. Just sit tight.
Now look, on business development companies, here's the thing. This is going to sound terrible. I was so excited back in 2020 when everything kind of started looking like it was going to fall apart, because business development companies were about to have their who's swimming naked moment, right? BDCs have been around for a while. They've been around, like 2000. They really started to come into vogue a little bit. But then after the great financial crisis, they became huge, because the regulators politely suggested to the banks that there were certain types of high risk lending they probably didn't want to engage in anymore. And that was LBO lending. It was lending to highly leveraged companies, and just some higher risk elements of corporate lending. Banks took the hit. They got out of the business, which left this big hole, right? Because there's still highly leveraged companies that need to refinance and borrow more money. There's still LBOs being done. There's still great big real estate projects that need mezzanine financing. Big hole. In come the business development companies. They're everywhere. I mean, the first time I went to a leverage credit conference, there were like 25 guys. We were all just sitting around drinking coffee till 5 o'clock when we switched to bourbon and talking about leverage deals. The last time I went to one, there was thousands of people there. So, the business has grown a little bit. I love the leverage lending business, but we're going to have at some point a who's swimming naked moment. All right. And when that happens, the marginal players that really don't know how this garbage works, that don't have a deep Rolodex full of contacts, that don't have deep pockets, they're going to fold up their tents. They're going to be gone. So what do we do? What I've suggested all along is we want to stay with the big proven BDCs. That's Ares Capital, ARCC. These guys are they're the biggest. They are the best of the best of the best. These guys all came up through Apollo. Apollo's guys all came up from Drexel Burnham. So there's a credit history here. And then these guys spun out on their own as Ares Management. This was their first BDC. It's the biggest BDC. They're incredibly conservative. They're careful about who they lend to. They pay attention to what sectors. They don't want any, industrials or materials, energy that's subject to inflation and recession swings. They don't want to own those. So it's software, it's healthcare, it's businesses that use other time. So you're getting a great yield off of this thing. It's like I said, best
over
of the
9%. Yep.
Yeah, best of the best. Then you've got FSKKR, which is FSK, which is Kohlberg, Kravis, and Roberts. Same thing. Really good at what they do. And again, big private equity firm backers, big deep pockets, thick Rolodexes full of contacts. So they're able to get deals done. They're sourcing deals. And then the other one in here is.
But really quick, both these charts pulled back to their 50 here yesterday, and they actually both have favorable RSI readings.
Yeah. I mean, anytime there's fears of a weak economy, because this is leverage lending, they're going to pull back. So more importantly, when this goes boom, and it will go boom, right? We've had a very activist Fed for the last 25 years that, right or wrong, that's for the history people to judge. But, Greenspan, Yellen, and then Powell, they've all stepped into every crisis, right? They've never had a chance to go boom. So, and particularly since the wave came in after 2009, we've only had one boom, and that's COVID. And during COVID, it was maxed from Congress, from the Fed, from everybody. So a lot of bad actors that should have gone boom didn't. At some point, and it may be under the next Fed chair who doesn't ride to Wall Street's rescue. It could even be under this one, because I don't think he'll do it without intense political pressure. And that's not coming from this White House, right? So if we get into an economic slowdown and there's no bailout, we're going to find out who the good guys are. The good guys are going to be cherry picking great loans. Their stocks will go down, but they'll be the ones to add to your position. The good BDCs are the larger ones that have relationships with or are sponsored by private equity firms. Private equity firms that also engage in private credit. They know more about borrowing and repaying and operating leverage in businesses than anybody in the history of the world. They sort of invented it. So your FSKKR, Ares Management, Main Street Financial, which is the old Apollo Investment, which is a direct Apollo company, are the ones that we particularly like in here because they're got strong loan portfolios. They've got deep pocketed backers. They've got great, huge, massive research departments, relationships all over the world in the leverage credit industry. So if you're going to buy a BDC, stick to the big guys. You're not giving up much on yield. You're going way up in quality, particularly with Ares.
Mm-hmm.
And if it all goes boom, or when it all goes boom, that's a technical term, by the way. It's in all the finance textbooks. When it goes boom, you can have a high degree of confidence about averaging down.
Okay.
All right. So jumping right into some fun research this morning, and we came across some pretty cool stuff. One was on gold ratios as measures of market direction and activity. Now, the Dow to gold ratio, it's been around forever. Lots of guys have talked about it. Lots of guys have sat on the sidelines out of the stock market because the ratio hadn't gone, back under 5 or whatever it was. It doesn't do that often. When it does do it, we're talking 1933, 1978. It's a big moment. However, if you're my age and you sit on the sidelines and you got to wait another 50 years for a buying opportunity, you might not get it. So the Dow to gold ratio has been interesting. It's great literature. Its real use is when it peaks on a monthly chart. There is value when this thing peaks and begins to move down because you're generally heading into a rough spot. So if it gets up over 20 and begins to decline.
What's the ticker here, Tim? Sorry, I missed it.
There's no ticker. You got to take the Dow Jones Industrial Average and divide it by the price of gold and calculate the ratio yourself. It's a pain in the although there's all kinds of software that will do that for you automatically. And like I said, there are guys that swear by the Dow to gold ratio, and they've been waiting since 1980 for a chance to get back into this thing. But it does have some predictive nature when it peaks. The problem, as we know, most tops are best observable in a rearview mirror. Right. So
no question.
And, there's been a lot of chatter recently because it's down at 12.5. It's been moving down off of about 19. Does this mean we're going into a crisis? I don't know. If so, it would have peaked at one of the lowest levels at which it's ever peaked. So we'll see. But so anyway, I ran across some research. I thought, well, this is interesting because I know a lot of guys talk about it. I am not looking around. Is it safe? I'm not a gold fan. I'm not a Bitcoin fan. I don't buy any of this stuff. Okay. Except when there's a good business, like we've talked about this, Ryan, when gold mining is a good business, like it is now, it becomes a momentum play. And then I'm kind of interested. Mm-hmm. And occasionally mines will trade for way less than replacement value. Then I'm interested. Gold is some magical investment solution or backing of global currency. Yeah, no, I'm out. But anyway, there are some stories to be told by the gold price ratios, apparently. And a firm named NN Squared Capital, who does a lot of research on a lot of arbitrage stuff. So two of them that I want to talk about. One's the gold oil price ratio as a predictor of stock market returns. Gold divided by the price of oil. Once again, you're going to need some halfway decent programming capabilities, or this thing's a pain in the butt you got to do by hand. But when the gold to oil price ratio, that's just the price of gold divided by the price of oil, is going up, it is an incredibly, ridiculously strong predictor of future stock market returns. They're using statistical models. They tested a lot of different ratios, gold to silver, oil, CPI, corn, copper, a bunch of other stuff to see which one's predictive of stocks. What's gold to oil? And I'm sure that if I had enough time, I could begin to dissect the economic and psychological reasons for this. But if there's a 1 standard deviation increase, again, now you're getting into you need a program to calculate this thing, because calculating the trailing 1 year standard deviation every day in the ratio, that's a pain in the butt. Okay, so you're gonna have to be pretty decent putting this together. But if you get that, the next month, this excess return on the stock market goes up by 6.6% on average. Okay, this is a really strong predictor of future stock market price movement. So it's one more quiver that you can put into the arrow that you can put into the quiver. Got that exactly backwards. That nobody else is really using. So I think it's kind of cool. It's a ratio that for those of you that, really heavy into technical stuff, it might be worth it, and are good programmers, to program this up and keep it on your desk. And when you see a 1 standard deviation increase, your probability of a strong month in the stock market just went up.
Okay.
Now, next up, and I really like this one, and this one's going to shock you because there's not too many more things I dislike more than gold and Bitcoin. But the Bitcoin to gold ratio is a really good predictor of stock market returns. The ratio of gold prices to Bitcoin. We're going to take the price of Bitcoin divided by the price of gold. If that is rising, it is positively linked to U.S. stock market returns. It's a risk on, risk off measure, Ryan. Gold is a safe haven. Gold is where you go when you're scared. Bitcoin is where you go when you want to gamble. So if Bitcoin is rising relative to gold, it is a risk on market. And it works really well. You can swap out Ethereum instead of Bitcoin. So it's a crypto gold kind of trade, but Bitcoin obviously being the most used crypto is the one that you want to use. It works for US stocks. It works for European stocks. So it's a global risk on indicator. Now, this one's cool and should probably be on all of our desks if we're focusing more on short-term trading. So I just thought that was really cool. The psychological and economic logic behind this just leaps out. It's front of brain. If Bitcoin's rising in gold terms, it's risk on. If it's falling, then people are flocking into gold and selling their Bitcoin. It's risk off. This is an easy, quick on-off switch, I think, for risk on, risk off in the market.
Absolutely. And this can actually very easily be done by just simply overlaying the gold price to a Bitcoin chart, which I have right here.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I figured one of you guys would come up with something like that. So that, I like that one a lot as a risk on, risk off indicator. It makes an enormous amount of sense. Lion Atlas is surprised Tim, as old school man, doesn't own gold. Gold has no dividends, pays no dividends, none, zero. Gold cannot be taken over. So I make most of my money by takeover, kids, right? As a deep value guy, most of my exits are takeovers. And so far, nobody has learned how to take corporate control of the world's gold supply. Okay. And gold will go up in times of inflation. So will real estate. Real estate pays dividends. So I've never really gotten into the gold store of value thing. Store of value. I have store of value. I do. It's in the form of lead and tin cans. And that's good. We get the type of crisis that the gold bugs are talking about next time around. It's all about lead and tin cans. I have those. So, by the way, I could probably swap my tin cans for your gold. And if need be, I can use my lead to just take your gold. So I like my supply a lot better than just trying to stock. But by the way, I'm not paying anybody insurance to store my gold. So far from attracting thieves, as gold does, my lead tends to discourage thieves and whoever really stole a can of green beans anyway. So I feel much better about my long-term survival metals than just gold. So anyway.
I like it. EKS here with a great comment. With 32 trillion in U.S. government debt, do you really want to own fiat long-term? My answer is no. I'm going to use fiat because my day to day, but no, this is one of the reasons why I do like having some Bitcoin. We'll see if it ends up working.
Well, here's the thing: Bitcoin's fiat.
How?
How is it not? It's not fungible. It's not backed by gold. It's not backed by a commodity. It's backed by your belief that it's currency. Bitcoin is a fiat currency. That's sorry, but it is.
Okay, that's going to start some arguments.
I
That's going to start some arguments.
Argue away. Most of the Bitcoin people I talk to will acknowledge it's a fiat. It's based on your belief that it's worth something.
And the fixed supply has nothing. Doesn't mean anything to you?
I could fix the supply of dollars. They're still fiat.
I do like this quote here. I disagree with Tim about that too, day trader, but we're not going to teach an old dog new tricks. No offense. No. I do like Tim's ethos here. Invest in lead, not gold. It appears, Tim, that I've been doing it right. So we're okay there. That'll work here. Okay, I do like the back and forth here, though.
Yes, I love it.
I like having people on both sides of the aisle. That to me makes for some of the best discussions here. So
right.
Okay, what else you got for us?
All right, real quick. Great paper on low volatility stocks and combining it with momentum. And this is pretty cool because low volatility has worked for a while. Momentum has worked since the dawn of time. So if you run your portfolio with part low volatility stocks and part momentum, that actually beats the market in smooth returns. But where this thing really gets juiced up, Ryan, is when we take low volatility stocks that have high momentum. Okay, so now we're going to come in here, and I got all messed up doing that. So the academics are using beta for volatility. I think we could do better with standard deviation, but we'll have that conversation another day just because it's really quick and easy for me to find low beta stocks. So let's find low beta stocks, and let's just use trend. We're going to go with our trend indicators, same ones we use in the Benzinga Pro search mechanism. So we're just going to have strong trend, high momentum assets. And looking in here, now you immediately start to see why these things not only work, they're a smoothing element to portfolios. Right now, you've got ExxonMobil, Philip Morris, IBM, Cisco, Novartis, Shell, RTX, and Texas Instruments are among your top holdings. But now if I want to get in here and own the best momentum stocks that fit all of these criteria.
Should I be duplicating this with you? I'm sorry, man. I didn't realize we were going to set up a scan. Okay.
No. That's fine. We don't need to do that. So let's go to, okay, here we go. We want to make sure we are up over the last week and up over the last month there. And then we're going to come back in. And I just thought this is a very cool portfolio because stop. It gives you some stocks that are not going to make you stick to your stomach with the constant back and forth moves, but also have great price momentum to the upside. So looking at these, what you have now is, again, it's ExxonMobil, it's Cisco Systems, Royal Bank of Canada, Total Energies, Palo Alto Network makes it. And so you're going to get some returns that are not necessarily, because these are all lower beta stocks, not necessarily going to be totally in sync with the market. So when the market goes down, these are going to go down less. You've got some REITs in there like Welltower and American Tower. You've got CVS, which, I go to CVS once a week because I'm old. But there's a lot of me. All right. So General Dynamics, Northrop Grumman, war's the eternal business. And as we're learning to our chagrin, it never goes out of favor. So those kind of stocks are in there. ExxonMobil, we're all going to go to the gas station this week. Cisco Systems, we're all going to use the internet this week. Philip Morris, half of us are going to smoke, another quarter are going to smoke and lie about it, and the rest of us will use nicotine packages. So So, I mean, there's still a business there. Um, and Palo Alto Networks, okay, of course, is one of the leading cybersecurity companies. So, just using this, you're cutting down the overall volatility of your portfolio without giving up the price momentum or without giving up the potential for excess returns. So, I thought it's just a very cool study, and going through and doing a quick and dirty look and read through on it. There were some interesting names in there, and I kind of begin to see why it works. But I really set off a storm on Bitcoin over there. I love
You sure did.
I love
You
doing
sure
that
did.
because
Really quickly here, first definition of fiat is that it is centralized and issued by a central authority. So right away, that Bitcoin ain't fiat.
Yeah, no, that's not the first definition of fiat. Hold on, I'm just looking for this. It's a currency that its value is determined by your belief in it. It's the official definition of fiat, of course, is formal authorization or decree. It's worth something because we said it's worth something. If we all got up tomorrow and for some reason Satoshi came out and said, "Hey guys, what a joke! Wasn't that funny?" Bitcoin would go to zero. Okay, it's a currency. And this is not a statement whether it's a good idea or it's a bad idea. If you're making money at Bitcoin, I'm happy for you, and you should be doing it. But its value is totally based because enough people believe it has value. That's it.
And so your premise is that changes, it's off to zero, we go?
Sure. If we all stop believing it in the morning, it's worth nothing.
I don't think that's going to happen, my man.
Well, no, I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying that's not going to happen to the dollar in the morning either. We all have faith in the dollar that we can take it down to the store and trade it for a pack of bubble gum. So as long as we all believe that, the dollar has value. The Genius Act did pass the Senate. That's stable coins. Whole different question here, because I'm going to tell you right now, the Genius Act is not favorable to the existing stablecoin companies or the smaller ones in particular. You put regulators in this now. This is going to look a lot more like the banking industry. It has to be backed by treasuries. It has to be backed by dollars. The biggest players in stablecoins are going to be the large banks. I think you might see the retailers get into it. I'm not excited about that. But stablecoin is way different than Bitcoin. So stablecoins, and I could make the case for or against stablecoins. I mean, I think that when we start letting the retailers into it, it may start to get mildly interesting. But so yeah, they're two different things, but it's definitely fiat, and stablecoins will be backed by dollars or treasuries, period.
Okay, we put up a poll, Tim. We're going to let this poll run through the rest of the pre-market here. I will update you on the results. Very simple. Is Bitcoin fiat? Yes or no? I'll get you those results when we get it. This is wrong of me, but I love that you kicked up a firestorm here.
It's please disagree with me. It's not like it's going to make me angry. I'm not going to argue about asset classes any more than I'll argue about politics. We can discuss it till the cows go home, come home. And if somebody gets mad, I'm leaving the room because that's silly.
No, nobody's mad.
Right, exactly.
Nobody's mad. They might be mad at me. I don't think they're mad at you.
But yeah, and you guys have a great argument about it. And please understand, if you are successfully trading Bitcoin, which by the way, moving averages in Bitcoin were made for each other. Watch the Bitcoin around the 200-day. It's pretty remarkable how cleanly it trends around that stuff. Yeah. But I just have doubts that it ends up in skipping down candy cane lane into endless prosperity. I don't think it goes that way. But
Candy Cane Lane, boy, there was a board game, Candyland. That was actually a tile in Candyland.
Candyland. I may hold the record for the most consecutive losses in Candyland.
Oh, but that's right, because you play with your grandkids. You got to let them win.
Well, no, and it was my daughter. I mean, I didn't let her win. She would just, if she had to roll a 300 on the dice to win magically, it would happen.
Okay.
I mean, I was ready to give up poker, gin. I was just going to stop. I was convinced the gods hated me, but then it was only the Candyland gods. It was strange, bizarre, but so yeah. Anyway, that's what I've got for you guys. Low volatility. The Bitcoin to gold ratio, that's worth a lot more study because, if you can identify in advance a flip on, flip off for risk on, risk off, that's incredibly valuable.
Okay. All right. Good stuff here, Tim. Absolutely love it. You've given us something to discuss here. We've got people on both sides of it. I absolutely love it. Tim,
right.
have a good. I know for the Fed day, you normally just ignore it and have wine instead. That sounds really good. Enjoy your day off tomorrow.
Yeah, I think today is going to be, obviously it's going to be a no decision. The war.
Yeah.
If they were leaning towards making a cut, the events in Iran took it off the table for now. So I think we see cuts in the fall.
Yeah, I agree with you, Tim. I'm there. All right, we're going to check in with you next week. Tim, enjoy your Juneteenth holiday as well as your weekend. We'll check in with you next week.
You guys too. Thank you very much.
All right, that is Tim Melvin. Not the biggest Bitcoin fan out there, but that's okay. I love those debates. And by the way, please vote in our poll on whether or not you think this is fiat or not. I've already voted. I know Tim voted. Let's go ahead and vote in that poll. I'll read you the results as soon as I get it. Now, Tim's departure does leave room for 13. Now, you know what we're going to ask 13 right away here. 13, how do you fall on this side?
How much time do you want to spend on this issue?
I just want a yes or no answer or whatever. I want a very black and white answer. Let's put it that way. Is Bitcoin fiat, yes or no?
I'm going to give you the answer I give to when it comes to politics. I just don't give a shit.
Okay.
I don't care what you want to classify it as. It's something we can trade and make money on. That's all that matters to me.
All right. 13, not even going to join that debate. You're just going to take the diplomatic route out.
The debate is a waste of time. I want to make money. How about that?
Okay. Well, let's do that. What do you want to do? You want to do the movers here first?
Actually, just want to give you a little bit of information about because I told you I was going to look into who's launching Voyager technologies because that was something we had spoken about yesterday. So it is going to be SpaceX. They are going to be using Starship, and that is going to be whether or not or how soon they get their the Star Lab, which is what Voyager technology is working on, up into space is going to be dependent on how soon that Starship becomes available. They're planning to have it operational by 2029, but if depending on how long it takes for Starship to get its rocket and delivery systems working and orbital refueling and all that to where it needs to where it passes all the tests, it's going to be the Voyager Technologies Star Lab is going to be subject to that. So I think, like I was saying yesterday, if there's any success in any of these Starship test flights, and there's going to be one coming up in about 2 weeks, I believe. Now I'll keep you updated on that. I think that's going to cause Voyager to move because it's so tied to the success of that rocket. So the success of that rocket being tied to Voyager, if that goes well, so should Voyager. Okay,
awesome. Appreciate that. I know we kind of just threw that at you yesterday, and the next time I saw you, you had an answer for it. So really, really good. Okay, also getting some shout outs here real quick. Anne-Marie Band feels the same way that you do. Who gives a damn? Let's just trade it and add money to the account.
Yeah.
Zane with that hot take. No nonsense 13. Love the attitude. Who cares? We're going to make some money. Camilio is saying this is the first time I've ever heard someone debating Bitcoin being fiat. Camilio, you're in the right spot. You're going to hear a lot of things for the first time around here. Okay. That really good intro right into the show here. Movers next. Want to knock them out?
Let's do it.
All right, let me find my workspace there. Boy, I literally just saw it and it disappeared on me. I got too many workspaces. I got to clean it up. All right, here is the Movers workspace. We're going to start here with APVO. You let me know if you want to go a different direction than these 13. Otherwise, I'm just going to go down the list here. APVO, this is Aptevo Therapeutics. We've definitely traded this one here before. Stock was about $3 yesterday and had kind of a rough day yesterday. Boy, what a difference a day makes. Aptevo Therapeutics shares are trading higher after the company announced clinical data from its ongoing phase 1b2 Rainier trial evaluating, what is this, Mipeltamig? Niplatamig? I don't know. Some drug with a stupid name that I can't pronounce like they all are. Quick look around the horn here on this one. 1.39% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. That comes on an average volume of 275,000. Today we've traded 14.5 million, and the float here micro. So this actually has a chance to move pretty good. 675,000 shares in the float. What do you think here, 13?
Yeah, so this I believe we have traded this before. This one is current. The announcement of the information they provided of the remission in 85% of their valuable frontline AML patients. AML being acute myeloid leukemia. This is their furthest along clinical trial that the company has going on. They have a few other drugs. This one being the furthest along. This company really needs cash. And what has happened with this is that they have an offering that's on the table. They're expected to close that by June 30th, but it could be sooner. That was going to add 10.26 million shares to the float. Also give them an infusion of $25 million. That offering is going to basically equate to $4.68 per share. So I think we are trading above that now. So if this does happen today or this week, that's where I would expect you'll just watch for a big red candle that goes down to that price. But before that happens, it already has 674,000 shares in the float. So very easy to move around. Probably could see this continue to move better, but just keep in mind that offering is on the table and they do need the cash to continue their clinical trials, which apparently are doing pretty well. Looking at the chart here,
the data here today insinuates that we are going to continue these trials, right? That's my read from it.
My thought is they need to. If they're doing well, they need to.
Exactly. That's so it seems to me that this capital raise here is likely. We just don't know when.
Just don't know the exact date, but I think you have until the end of the month to make this happen. It seems like they're pretty far along, and who's going to issue it and all that. So I feel like we could get this as early as today, but it may not be. I just keep in mind that it's on there. And, if you are going to trade this, maybe not hang around in it is all I'm getting at.
Okay.
Looking at the chart, we are already trading
in and out. Gotcha.
Yeah. We're already trading down beneath the VWAP. It seems like we are set up to trade lower. We do just need to hold up this 15 EMA on the 5 minute. That's kind of what's providing support right now, but I don't even think it's looks that good for support. So this would be a wait and see until the open. Maybe we do get support up here, but for now, this is in a bit of a downtrend off the high of 936.
Okay. Good stuff there. APVO. Next one here on the list is going to be Lion Group Holding, not Lion Atlas, but Lion Group Holding. Ticker here is LGHL. That's Lima Golf Hotel Lima. Lion Group shares are trading higher after the company secured a $600 million facility from ATW Partners to support the launch of its Hype Treasury add-on chain initiative. Well, I'm going to have to actually read through this to see which watch list this goes on. This actually just hit pre-market highs a second ago. Looks like our high print there was 548. Excuse me, 547. Your high print there, LGHL. Quick look around the horn here on this one. Pretty much nothing on the short interest. Less than 0.5%, 0.43% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. That comes on an average volume of 194,000 shares. Stocks traded 13.4 million, has a much bigger float here at 22.5 million. 13, what do you think on this one? What is this Hype Treasury?
Yeah, I think that might be all that it is. This one I didn't see come up. This is kind of a recent move here.
All right.
Also, looks like this is a bit of a China pump. It looks like this is a company out of Hong Kong. I'm seeing that I don't know. Is this called class over holdings? No, it's not. I don't know why we keep seeing these Form S1s pop up here under this newsfeed, but I don't think it has anything to do with it. Anyway, this is a China pump in my opinion. I didn't go over this one because it's still new to this movement. So I don't have anything here for you on this one.
No problem. I've got something here for you. First of all, Lion Atlas saying anything with lion in it is a buy. Now, no, that comes as no surprise to anybody, but all jokes aside here, a quick look through the PR here. This is announced a secured $600 million facility. The launch of its next generation layer 1 treasury reserve anchored by Hyperliquid, Solana, and Sui. Sol and Sui assets will be custodied and staked with validators managed by BitGo trust companies. So, day trader, if you're still out there, I'm adding this to the SOL watch list, the SOL treasury watch list that you created for us. Let me know if I'm missing something here. Nice to see the SUI coin being mentioned here. That's actually a coin that I'd still hold in my Bitcoin account, along with Ethereum and a little bit of Bitcoin. Hype is a new hot chain. Okay, well, for right now, I'm going to leave it in Sol. We'll see what happens if this changes, but good to know. Maybe the stock is actually moving on the Hype chain being hot and new. Nonetheless, LGHL did look like we kind of topped out there at 550. We'll see if we we'll see if we get any movement down here. Joe saying Sui is a pig call. You see the game yesterday? I was calling the Hogs yesterday. And the day where that kid threw a complete game 19 strikeout shutout. I mean, just unreal. But shout out to you if you're a Razorback fan out there. Okay.
I smoke Hogs. Anyway, if you want to get a target of where this might head to, seems like 630 might be an interesting spot. We're about $1.30 away from there.
Where did you get the 630 from, if you don't mind me? Oh, just probably from the daily chart here.
Yeah.
Yep,
December
right in
lows,
here. Yep.
December lows, yeah.
Okay. Good stuff there, 13. Next on the list here is going to be LSE. This is Lishen Energy Holdings. Stock is up 67% here, up about 3 points. It was about $6 yesterday, over 9 here today. I don't have any news on this. Looks like last night after hours, we got a Form 13G.
Yep.
So that's what's driving it here today. Okay, let me do a quick look around the horn here. Again, very low short interest, 0.46% of the float shorted here on 1 day to cover. Average volume here just under 500,000. Today we've traded 12 million. What do you got here, 13?
Yeah, so that reports an ownership stake of 9.1%. I forgot to write down which what entity it is, but this is also in that that's the small energy names theme that we've been seeing this week, where you remember Husa and Indo. Those have been kind of going. This is in that same sector as well. I think they provide components for the energy industry. Let me just double check that for you. Yes, high performance, safe, cost-effective energy solutions, oil and gas engineering services, production operations. So it's all in that same stuff. But that aside. This company has 1.52 million shares in the float. Couldn't get a read on their financials. No surprise there. Looking at the chart, we have actually traded this before back in March when this thing ran up to $15. But if you look at the chart, you can gather one thing. After these big moves up, they come right back down. So whatever happens today, I wouldn't expect it to last.
Okay, good stuff. Good stuff on that one. We have seen that before here. All right, next here is going to be BDRX. I'm not even going to ask. I'm sure you're just going to tell me. Biodexa shares are trading higher after the company enrolled its first patient in its phase 2A study of some drug I'm not even going to try just because I'm tired of pronouncing these stupid drug names. Quick look around the horn here on the short interest, 12.69% of the float shorted there. That comes on 1 day to cover, and that comes on an average volume of 2 million. Today we traded 31.25 million there. Float is 2.9 million. What do you think here on ticker BDRX?
Yeah, I don't remember if this was the good one or the bad one, but it's one of those. Looking at the chart here, this could go back up to 170 and run into some resistance. That seems to be the line I have here. Maybe it's just under 2 as well, but I didn't go over this one because there are others that were moving better than this one. But let me just go back here and take a look and see what we got. So 2A study, enrolling the first patient. I don't think that carries anywhere near as much weight as that APVO headline where they were seeing a 85% remission. So there's still a lot of money that's going to be spent here with this, and they're just enrolling, for the 2A study, and that implies that there's going to be a 2B ongoing as well. So time to go to their cash and see what they're burning. No read on their income statement, no read on their cash flow. 1.6 million in cash in the bank. I have to think they're going to probably do some kind of capital raise.
Okay. All right. Really good stuff there. Several folks here mentioning APVO. I think it's accumulating and will move out of the gate, says Jonathan. Okay.
Good.
This is actually curling off of that 15 EMA and going back towards the VWAP. Jay Michael mentioning GoGo. Someone else had mentioned this earlier. I put it on the list, but I didn't check it yet. We'll just go ahead and do this now. First of all, GoGo, just so you guys are well aware, this is near and dear to my heart. I have no active position on this, and I haven't for a while. But this was the stock. There were two stocks that really kind of took me from beginner level to the level that I'm at now. That was SLGG and that was GoGo. GoGo was my first lesson in trading a company on a turnaround, and I was buying these shares up $3 and $4. Ended up making some pretty good money on this. Haven't been involved in it for a long time. I definitely have a soft spot in my heart for this stock. So take that with a grain of salt when we're ever talking about it. I do love seeing it trading up here, even if I am not in it. GoGo shares trading higher after Citron Research posted comments on the stock on social media. Now, I haven't seen what these comments are. Thankfully, I've got Benzinga Pro. Citron Research posts on GoGo 100% since our March 11th post. No meme, no hype, just forgotten value. No short here, no opinion at this level. As for the obvious shorts out there, the silence says enough. We're busy hunting the next double. As always, asymmetry wins. So it looks like that was a victory lap there for Citron. GoGo popping here 13.1% here in the pre-market. They successfully complete the first 5G end-to-end call. That is a press release that we're getting here this morning. GTC Semiconductors Holdings delivers a hot new 5G chipset to Airspan. Says GoGo will be ready to ship 5G solutions to the MRO networks for installations. Okay, GoGo trading higher on the back of that news here. Let me take a quick look at this because it's been a while. Oh my God. GoGo here, 39.38% of the float shorted with 11.4 days to cover. That comes on an average volume of just shy of 2 million. Today, we've only traded 41,000 shares, which is why you don't see it on the movers list here. Floats 54.8 million. 13, we got some squeeze potential here in a oldie but a goodie in GoGo. I understand I kind of took a detour here. This was certainly not on your list to prepare for today, and it's only traded 41,000 shares, so not a whole lot of action yet. Do you have anything on the chart or anything else for this ticker? Okay, I'm not surprised to hear that from you.
This looks like it's going to go at least another $1. There's a gap fill that's from August of 2023, the very beginning. That's from the 4th to the 7th, so it's a weekend gap. We're in that right now, and that fills at, looks like it fills around in the 15 handle, like 1538. I'm sorry, no, 1510. It's going to be in the 15 handle. Anyway, we're over $1 away from there, so I think that that's going to fill. It looks like it's headed that direction. Once we get there, we come up to some pretty significant resistance, especially once we get into the 16 handle. So I don't know how much is going to, we're going to get out of this one, but there's some levels to keep an eye on. That gap fill, and then just above 16 seems to have some pretty good resistance kicking.
Okay. Really good stuff there. There you go. A little bit of a detour there. GoGo is indeed moving, but Jonathan, as we already mentioned here, please be careful. Very, very low volume so far here in the pre-market. I think as far as a trade goes, even if this is just going to be a short-term scalp or something like that, you are probably better off waiting till the market opens and getting that volume flow in there. So there you go. Okay. Next on the list here, I'm just taking a look. We did AP. Next on the list here, I've got Reli, R-E-L-I. This is definitely a stock that we have traded off of the relative volume scanner a number of times before. This popped yesterday in the after hours on a report that Reliance Global shares are trading higher after the company signed a letter of intent to sell its Fortman insurance subsidy subsidiary for $5 million in cash. Now, we did pop again here this morning on better volume than we did yesterday. It did lose the VWAP, but it's really not breaking down and holding in there. So honestly, just looking at the trading action here this morning, not terrible given the news that we saw yesterday. 1.01% of the float shorted. That's on 1 day to cover. On average, the stock trades 421,000 shares a day. Today, we've traded 21 million. Float here is 2.6 million. 13, what do you think here? Ticker RELI.
I think the news of selling their Fortman insurance is really interesting when you combine it with the previous day's news where they withdrew their S1 or requested to have their S1 withdrawn. So they're not going to be issuing more shares in order to raise capital. Instead, they're just going to sell their Fortman insurance business for $5 million. So that was really favorable. And it appears that has taken the stock back over its 200-day SMA for the first time, I think, since August of 2022. I might have the month wrong, but I know I got the year right. 2.59 million shares in the float. Doesn't seem like that's going to be growing anytime soon, but a recapture of that 200-day SMA along with the relative volume we've been getting lately is, I think, what's really starting to send this thing up. In addition to the insurance news and the withdrawal of the S1. So a lot of combining factors helping to lift this higher. Don't know where we're going to end up seeing this go, but it is beneath VWAP right now. However, I do have a trend line I've drawn on the top here of the price action this morning. So if we do get a lift back over VWAP, I think I have an idea of where this goes, and it's looking like it's going to be heading up to 4, maybe more. But that's what I've got here for RELI. As far as some historical levels I can draw on, looks like the highs we got back at the end of the year in December could be the one of the earlier ones to look at, since we're already over the 200 EMA and the 200-day SMA. So I'd say 510 would be the next area of resistance I think we could run into before the ones I mentioned previously.
Okay, there you go. RELI. Thinking about it out here, Belinda Carlisle getting a mention here in the chat. Didn't have that on my bingo card either. You folks are surprised, just never ceasing to amaze me on a regular basis. Okay, let's go next here down the list. Did you have, first of all, let me ask you, did you have anything else that you covered here on the list that we should jump to?
No, that was the last one.
That was the last one. Mm-hmm. Okay, the other one here, this is KWE. This is just popping recently. Was this news though? No.
Let's see.
So this, I don't see this popping on any news. We only have 5 minutes left, and we have a number of stocks that people requested. So my view is to just go to the chart and review those.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. In the meantime, I can try to see if there's anything I noticed out of KWE.
Okay, first one that I'm going to do is MBOT. Someone asked about this earlier. I confused this with MOB, M-O-B, which is the Israeli drone company. This one is not that. Microbot Medical is a clinical stage medical device company specializing in the research, design, and development of next generation robotic endoluminal surgery devices targeting the minimally invasive surgery space. So this is going to be a medical device company. We've actually talked about this as a theme. It had news yesterday regarding strengthening its global IP portfolio with a newly granted patent in China. I don't put a whole lot of weight in that. If we look at today, we are up a little bit on very, very low volume. However, if we look to a larger time frame chart, you realize this stock's not doing much of anything here. So until something changes here, or if I have some type of information on what's going on here, this to me is just a no touch. We're really, for what we're trying to do here on this show, is we're trying to find active volume movers. This doesn't fit the criteria by any stretch of the imagination. Now, thinking about it here, this is a story trading stock. I'm in it for approval. So you're actually waiting for something here. It's not necessarily happening now or today. You're waiting for a future development. I'm sure we can ask the story trading folks about this stock when we have them later. No position here for me on this one.
All right. I have some thoughts on KWE after looking at the chart and trying to figure out what this is. Do you want to look at a daily chart and
sure,
kind of tell me what you see there? Because I think this might be, there you go.
So this is the island here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we popped, we came all the way back in, we tested the bottom of the island, we held, and then we moved higher. So we got
a little bit of a technical aspect to this. This is also a recompliance play. This is also, I think, this could be something similar to AXON, but this is also, they also have countermeasures for drones, lasers, electronic detection, but this is also like they have crowd control and non-lethal systems, and it's kind of an all-encompassing, semi-military play. I don't know. I still need to learn more about it, but there's like a lot of things that are, they're going on in the world right now that have caused some other stocks to run. This is in that similar space. So I think you're just kind of getting some relative movement with this, but you have that recompliance that also happened last month. You have the floating island on the technical side. So I think it's just a number of factors all coming together, because I don't see any particular news that's causing this to run right now. And also it's a very low float, 524,000 shares. So a lot of boxes being checked. I just don't think there was any real catalyst to start getting this going.
The one thing I will say here about the floating island technical setup that we have, this is resolved. We have resolved the upside. So in terms of this as a particular trade thesis, you're in the selling phase. This is not a buying phase here. And then real quick, I am also seeing this here on X, EKS. I appreciate you throwing this here in the chat. Israel is reportedly attacking the Iranian Supreme Leader's underground headquarters. Seeing pictures of that on X here. Doesn't look like our market is really responding to that. Frankly, I'd rather see Israel do it than us, but that's just me. And we're about to open here. Oh God, we've got less than 10 seconds. Let me flip over to the main workspace. Folks, the only other stocks that we had left on the list here were HIMS, AMD, Circle, and Sezzle. We look at all of those stocks regularly. We literally just had a long discussion about AMD yesterday. So sorry about that. I'm sure we'll hit on some of those here today.
Yeah, and I did see some others, tickers that we were getting mentioned. I'll look over those too. Izzy, I saw that you wanted to talk about MP. We'll get to that.
Okay. Remember, so MP, that was on when we first started hearing about some of those rare earths there. This has been a great swing from the low 20s. That's really where this started, right? Like if I go back here, we're drawing the chart a little bit slower here. Yep. This started here in the low 20s, huge move, almost a double. USAR was the other one in sympathy with that. This also made a pretty decent move from when that started. I think this was about $4. So actually down from the highs there. Okay.
Looks like we're getting some decent movement in RELI. That's making its way back up to VWAP. LSE dropped beneath its 65 EMA, but recaptured it. Still needs to hold that. APVO, that's dropping. LGHL, that might have a pop and drop happening here. BDRX, not really doing a whole lot. GoGo is going down.
Okay, so again, that move higher in the pre-market looked like that was on really low volume. This is the equalization of that, it seems. Sweet One saying that the market feels like it's in a holding pattern. Indeed, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's what we get here this morning, Sweet One, until that FOMC meeting. I think you're spot on with that.
KWE is now halted to the upside. Lynn, you're mentioning ASTS? I'm sorry if I missed anybody asking about something. Post it again and see if I can, catch it this time. Yeah, ASTS is knocking on the door, 42. Looking backwards, seems like if it can get to 42, 42.15 seems to be one of the late day highs we had on Monday. The high of that day was 42.93. So looks like it could go higher into the 42 handle if it can get over $42. There's a number of sellers there, so it has to deal with that first. BDRX, after hitting 178 this morning, which was apparently a level we had previously, it's still trending down, looking for some support from the 65 EMA or the 200 EMA. But this is, I think this is just on enrollment, so I don't think this has really got a strong news catalyst here today. Looks like APBO is starting to get going here after recapturing the 15 EMA, making its way back up towards VWAP. Just chewing through the consolidation from the pre-market that it put in since about 8:40.
Okay. Chris Long spy here on this pull right out of the open. CoreWeave is getting hammered. Kathy, didn't you ask about CoreWeave?
Oh, yeah, that was the other thing. I guess my top call was wrong. After 2 weeks, it finally broke yesterday. So there's that.
Hey, at least you made a call. And for a while, it looked like it worked there.
It did actually work for a while. It did, didn't it?
Now, the interesting thing, CoreWeave coming in off that high that it printed yesterday. See if this continues to break down here at all.
Let me take a look at CoreWeave here. Okay, so it is coming back down, but keep in mind that we're still above that previous high that where I thought the top was. So that was 166.63, and we're coming down to that. If we get support from 166.63, I think this still has potential to go higher. But we just need to see support there. APVO, almost a VWAP. This is knocking on door 7 through 7. Look at this thing go. I think we got a good one here. Let's see what it can do here at VWAP. Meanwhile, it looks like LSE and RELI are also trying to do the same. Both interacting with their VWAP. I'm sorry, their 65 EMAs trying to come up to their VWAPs. Looks like BDRX is also doing the same. 65 EMA is really helping these movers this morning. APVO at maybe just beneath VWAP right now.
Yeah, I've got it literally 9 cents below VWAP there. It looks like it's about to test it. I'm going to leave this one on the screen for 1 sec. BRB 13.
Okay, Izzy, MP guys. All right, so yeah, I'll look at MP. So it's higher today. Looks like it almost reached 38. I guess it was about 28 cents short of that. What we got here on the smaller time frame. So this is big volume out of the gate here. It looks like this wants to keep going. 38 doesn't seem like it's out of the question. But here's the thing. It's very extended on a daily. We're looking at 78 RSI, almost 79. Coming up to some previous resistance areas back from 2023. So, you know, I like the whole idea for MP, but I feel like there's going to be an opportunity to get this at a better price. There should be some kind of pullback happening here because of how extended this is. So that's, for me, that's what I would be waiting for, is for this to come in and cool off a little bit before we can load up and have this launch higher. Because this thing, honestly, it's likely going to go into the 40s and maybe even the 50s. I think we're going to start to see some of those, those crazy 2021, 2022 prices again. But I don't think that we'll see them right away. I think we need to cool off first, and kind of springboard launch into that those price ranges. But for now, don't let me stop you from trading MP. I just feel like we need to have a little bit of a cooling off period first. APVO now trading over its VWAP. Well, it was just a moment ago.
It popped right to it there. Yeah. I'm actually watching this in my other window here too.
RELI, this one is over its VWAP. This one coming up to some pre-market resistance. Looks like the 7 o'clock resistance. The high of the
APVO. Sorry for interrupting,
nice.
But right through that there. Good Lord, I left my order unfilled. Damn it. I tried to get it on the pop through VWAP. Volume came in a little too quick. I'll dial that back.
Looks like if we continue to hold VWAP at an APVO, 9 is on the table. Also, we have RELI that popped over VWAP as well. That is looking like it's going to try to go for 370. And then after that, 391. 391 is a pre-market high.
IMRX. Izzy, I saw that you mentioned this earlier. Couldn't get to it, but this is going now on volume. IMRX.
Insider buy. And price targets. Yeah, one of the directors buying over 40,000 shares.
At 221. That's higher than where the price is right now.
It's right where, right where we're at right now, pretty much.
10 price target from Mizuho. That's a 5X from where it's at. Chardon Capital, $13 price target. And Needham, $9 price target. So substantial price targets here. IMRX. APVO, by the way, that stopped right up there at 770.
GoGo dropped out of the gate here. Lost VWAP, went down to the 65 EMA, recaptured it, and now we're back above all that, trying to get above the pre-market high of 1420.
APVO through 770 and now through 8. Oh man, why couldn't I have gotten filled on that one? Good spot there. And good mention, 13, because you had mentioned right as that was coming back to the VWAP on volume, that has persisted here. We actually popped above 8. Go back up to its pre-market highs. We'll see if that can take what I've got this at 1420.
Yeah, it looks like that's about it. I'm still looking for that gap fill. So this thing I think is going to, if we get the gap fill, it's going to be over $15. So that's what I'd be looking at.
Camilo, you're going to have to figure that one out on your own here. Out of curiosity, are most traders here day traders or swing? My guess would be they're day traders. I primarily swing, but I day trade when I feel like I got a good snipe going. I prefer to swing trade. I'll do whatever the market gives me, though.
Yeah, keep an eye on LSE. It's still trying to hold above the 65 EMA, putting in some. Okay, well, here we go. It's moving up towards its VWAP now. But it was looking like
which one? Sorry, which one?
LSE.
LSE.
Yeah. Just holding up the 65 EMA. Had a couple of wicks beneath it, but still recapturing it. And I was just thinking, okay, well, keep an eye on this one in case we get a bigger move up towards the VWAP, and that's starting to happen now. So we'll see how much we end up getting out of LSE here, but it's going right for its VWAP. Go is going. I think this thing is gonna. I'm still thinking this thing gap fills. Let's see what else we got here. APVO is still trying to push into 8 and hold.
Marvell, we had a move higher here in the pre-market, now a move higher in the regular session.
Fantastic.
The stock is up 8.5%. We talked about this one literally on the webinar last night as a mover here, and damn, this thing just moved right out of the gate.
Just passing through, that's great. And I would just also add that the more time you spend in this market, the easier and more clear things become when you're trading. It does take time, but it's the experience is all worth it if you are serious about doing this. So I'm glad to hear that you're just listening and learning. That's a great start.
And actually, really quickly, just anecdotally, before I moved to try to do this more often, I actually first tried to do this full time, needed to add a separate job on the back of it so that I could continue doing it. But before I even made that transition, I worked at a bank, and one of my tabs was all of my different stock stuff. I didn't have a YouTube stream that I could sit in. I had chat rooms that I had to log into on my phone because the network at the bank blocked it. So I did the same thing that you did, just passing through. I worked on my market knowledge on a parallel track while I was at a 9 to 5 so that I could transition. I think that's a smart move there, by the way. Marvell continuing to trade higher on this pump here, now up over 9% on the day.
APVO coming into the VWAP as support. LSE still trying to get over VWAP. Just got stopped out of go. Probably flushed me out, but that's fine. LGHL, this thing just cratering all the way down to 65 EMA, which is much further away than these other ones. So if it has line in the name, it may not always be worth picking up until it hits the 65 EMA, maybe. We'll see.
Lynn, you're right about that. Swing versus day trade would be a good pull, and we could do that for Camilo. That's a good idea, Lynn. Let me know. Let me know, producer, when we get the results on the other poll. Maybe we could do that next. Here is your KWE 13.
Yep. Yeah. So KWE opened, pumped it to 1364, starting to come back in. Honestly, don't know how much this has in it, but it's we outlined why it could go on a run, but. I don't know how much is going to be left in this move. RELI still trying to, looks like we're above the VWAP now, but putting in some upper shadows. So be careful with that one. LSE, this one's fallen back down beneath the 65 EMA.
That Circle IPO here, this dipped right out of the open and has now bounced and moved higher. Circle trying to get above this 155. I've got 157.5, your after hours highs from yesterday. We challenged that again here in the pre-market, but couldn't get over it. I didn't think there was anything new here on Circle, CRCL. This just looks like continued post-IPO momentum here.
All right, just watching APVO, see if it holds above the VWAP. I guess we can do a trend line on the top side here. Okay, so if you do a trend line on APVO from the high of 936 through the next high that followed it just about 20 minutes later, and then through the regular session high, we are hitting this trend line frequently. There you go. Yeah, draw that.
I'm trying, man. This thing is, I got all types of problems here. Holy cow.
Oh, I thought that was the stream.
What?
I thought that was the stream that was causing the lag.
No, I think it's, I'm using the test branch again.
Okay.
So I think that's what it is.
But there you go. That's the trend line that I was just watching there. Got rejected there. Let's see what happens when we get back down to this consolidation area that we moved out of earlier out of the gate. So this would be a support area that we're coming down to. If we chew through this, it's headed right for the 65 EMA. BDRX. Sorry, go ahead.
John is asking about ASTS. I know we briefly talked about, I took that off my screen here. ASTS now retesting those pre-market highs. We've already been through it once here. This looks like this is trying to go higher. Damn, I'm slow again here on this. Should have hit that APVO. That sucks.
So, yeah, we're looking at 42.15 as a potential resistance area in ASTS. If we get through that, I'd be looking at 42.93. Okay, so LGHL, that is getting support from the 65 EMA. LSE, just more sideways action. Don't know what, I mean, we might end up getting a bearish engulfing candle in this 5-minute chart. We'll see if that ends up happening. APVO, still holding above that consolidation from the pre-market, so that's a good sign, but we need to get back above VWAP. Solar on the recovery. It had an awful day yesterday.
Yeah, it sure did. In fact, I think TAN had its worst day in forever yesterday.
TAN to tide, huh?
Amanda, right, hearing you're on the latest branch makes my developer heart happy. Well, got to help out the dev team do some QA work, that's for sure. It's actually been very stable. I know I'm complaining here about minor lags, but I've actually had 0 crashes at all in any tool since I've started this, so happy about that. Here is APVO. Actually looks like we're getting ready to gear up for another VWAP cross to the upside.
Yep, just chewed through that size at 7, trying to get back over VWAP, which is at 733. Now, if we make our way back up to this trend line again, there's a really good chance we could break through it. Just need to have that volume. Need to see that volume expansion. They're taking out some of these sellers here.
Yep.
Well, that does its thing. Let's see. LSE.
I'm going to watch this one.
That's beneath that 65 EMA now. RELI came down to its 65 EMA, trying to bounce now. Same thing with LGL. It's down there at that same EMA. BDRX still rising, but I'm not sure it's going to do a whole lot beyond 130. Maybe I'm wrong about that. We get a good volume expansion, and that takes us up beyond VWAP, but we'll see if that ends up happening. GoGo still trying to deal with the sellers bringing it down to 14. We'll see what happens here. This looks like it's starting to roll over, so watch for loss of VWAP. KWE coming down to its VWAP, by the way. All right, so what's going on here, APVO? Are we going to break over that VWAP or what? Make something happen. And a 13B scalp, not overextended momentum. Let's see here. I mean, RSI is, on a daily is quite a high figure. And if you look at this move, I mean, yeah, it's momentum, but it's just really extended in the short term. I think it has to come back in. Because, the longer you go on a run like this and it doesn't cool off, the harder the price will fall when it finally does. I'd like to see this continue to move up, systematically. In order to get that, we're going to need to see some cooling off from time to time in order for it to drive higher. Now, if this does come back down, like really come back in, I'd like to see support around 32.
Tesla, by the way, this is ripping right out of the open here. Abby, I know that you were looking at Tesla here. All kinds of call sweeps on this too.
Looking for a recapture of that 325, isn't it?
Sure is. In fact, those calls are predominantly the 325 calls. 352, also honorable mention in there. 315, that was the put. That was the lone Tesla put there. APVO, that bounce liquidated. This coming back in now.
Yep, down to it into that consolidation from the pre-market. So we go through that. This is hitting the 65 EMA.
And right here is exactly why when I'm sitting on there and the thing is running away from my order that didn't get filled, you don't chase. This is literally a visual description of why I just pulled the order because I didn't get the price that I wanted.
And there's KWE. Folks are starting to see it. We've got a bounce off of VWAP that put in well, I don't know if that high was off of VWAP bounce. I don't think it was, but it's trying to put in a new high. 1429 is the current one. We're just about to get back into 14. There we are, and looking to make a new high.
Oscar, by the way, OSCR, this continuing to move higher. Remember, this was a Tim Melvin pick. This is still moving higher. Marvell stopped at about 76 there.
Oh,
someone asked about TMC earlier, the metals company. This trading higher here, 670 on TMC.
Well, then don't let me change your mind on MP, Izzy, because I was kind of looking at it as a little bit of a longer term play because it's what America has right now for rare earths. It's what we got. I don't think the valuation is anywhere near where it should be. I think it'll be much higher, being that that's like the only one we have. BDRX coming up to its VWAP. Apparently, that enrollment is better than expected news. Don't see it, but it is.
S&P futures here continuing to tick up. 599 coming. We'll see if we can retake 600. We tried for that in the pre-market and couldn't do it.
SGMT looking good. I don't think I've looked at that one this morning. I guess we're talking about the setup here. We did get that pop out of the gate over a whole bunch of EMAs and the VWAP. Now we're using them as support. So, Lion, are you kind of just waiting to see if this level that we're at, like let's call it $7, we think we're going to get a good move off of that with some volume expansion? I don't know what the catalyst would be, but I won't say I can't see what you're looking at here. I just think we need that volume component to really kick in. All right. So waiting to see if GoGo is going to end up going back up here. It might. No promises. Just looking to see what. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, good morning, Smoke Tuna. He was mentioning GPMT. I haven't looked at that one yet here. Granite Pine Mortgage Trust. That actually sounds like a Tim Melvin stock.
Granite Point.
Granite Point, excuse me.
It's all good. It's a trust. So it's so this is a REIT. What are they in? Loan by loan basis. Okay, so what, this is like an M&A company? I mean, I guess I need to read into this some more. It seems like they do financing and they own property. Anyway, not going to look into that one too much. Let's look at the recent news. Declares a dividend. Wonder if that's the reason why it's up today. Next level for KWE is 16.5. I think I was looking at something like that. I don't know if that was the level I gave. No, I don't think it was. And then what are you looking at after that? We're probably good at looking at the 20s after that, right? After the 16.5. Tell me what you're seeing. All right, well, a lot of these, okay, well, it looks like APVO is trying to come back up to VWAP. LSE also trying to turn around after losing the 65 EMA. RELI trying to hold at 65 EMA as well. Hasn't been the greatest for movers this morning, but I think we just need to exercise a little bit of patience. KWE has been one of the better movers, even if it has done some halts. 1537 is currently the high. Our alpha is taking a trade in First Solar.
So we're playing a bounce there on some of that, on some of those solar names. This actually looks like this might go higher if this can push through 148 there. Looking for that 150 test or okay.
You think we're seeing some rate sensitive names starting to move because there's maybe some expectation that they might cut? I don't think they will, but
no, I don't think that. And maybe it's just because of me. Maybe it's just because of like my own bias. I'm with you, 13. I don't think we even get a hint of a rate cut here today. So I don't see why these names would be moving.
And I'm not just referring to the names that were beat up yesterday, but like rate sensitive names. You know, some of those, like we're seeing some REITs rise. I'm sure. Let me take a look at something here.
Here's another one. Here's Rocket. This traded down. Just had an awful day yesterday, and we're just kind of getting it back here today.
And then it looks like utility sector is, you know, it's having an okay day, not necessarily negative, but slightly positive. I think that's just wishful thinking if anybody's thinking that we'll get a rate cut today.
Here's SNES. This was shout out to you,
nice.
Izzy. I know that you were mentioning this recently, this popping here.
Oh, is Trump speaking right now? Okay, well, that might help. KWE.
I do see the market popping. What's he speaking about?
I don't know. I just saw that somebody
he's reiterating that the Fed should cut rates. Okay.
Okay. That fight again. Okay. So that's that's going to be something I expect that we'll see and hear a lot about today.
If Trump said if Fed would lower rates, we would buy debt for a lot less.
Uh-huh. Oh, hey, APVO, here we go. Making its move through that trend line. That was a quick recapture and breakthrough. Once again, the trend line.
Taking 139% profit on Marvell calls. That'll get you registering. Line, I know that you didn't buy that off of the recommendation on last night's webinar, but good on you. Big move there. Great little gain here today.
Fantastic. Now it looks like sellers are starting to hammer APVO. Don't know if they're going to be able to chew through that wall at 830 of all those bids. Looks like it's trying to push higher.
This thing found some support down there at the 15 EMA. Really just broke through that VWAP.
Yep, and looking for those pre-market highs now up in the 9 handle. All right, CVX high a day. Saw that we were getting some good movement in the XLE as well. That was we higher prints than yesterday. Looked like the energy sector was a little indecisive over the past few trading days. Not so much today. Looks like there's a little bit more confidence.
APVO back at the highs here. Damn. HIMS, I know you guys are wanted to take a look at this earlier. I'm sorry we didn't get to it. HIMS, the big thing that we're looking at, what you had me draw this triangle on here. It's basically two trend lines that form this triangle. It actually looks like we're trying to break out at the top of this right now. Joe saying HIMS is growing some hair. I see what you did there. The 64, 65 area here, this is what we want to break and go higher from. The trend line too, but obviously that 65 area.
LSC looks like it's trying to turn around. GPMT still making new session highs. 251 is the high now. Not sure if we're going to get more out of KWE, but it's holding above its VWAP. And APVO is approaching 9.
Smoke Tuna saying not enough volume here. I'll tell you what, this was a good move, at least so far. APVO.
Smoke Tuna, did you hit enter and then it started going and you're like, oh, now it's going? Is that what happened? Because I see that. I have that happen to me a lot. Because here we are at some of the pre-market highs now. We hit the 825 high. Let's see, that was 907. And we got to 906. So just looking for that 936 high in the pre-market, and that'd be that'd be probably the breakout spot. Looks like we are coming back in towards that trend line. So let's see if we can get some support down there if we do get this pull. Still have those bids at 830, and they're getting chewed through. Be careful, we might see a loss at 830 there if they take that completely out. KWE has a history of jackknifing. And Zim Boom. Well, you know what? I think we were seeing some news about how the Houthis might restart their Red Sea disruption campaign.
Really quickly here, Crow, good mention here on Emran. This popped right to the VWAP. We'll see if it moves through that.
Marin, that's back, huh?
Yep.
Okay, so Zim, yeah, right down to the 20-day SMA and the I have the 1736 level that I marked off here a long time ago, sometime last year, I think, maybe even 2023. Getting us rebound off of that. If this continues to move up, I think $18 is going to be an area of resistance to watch for. Looks like LSE is still continuing to climb. We are getting a little bit more of a pull in APVO. If we don't get support from this trend line that we drew, the VWAP's right beneath it. And looks like GoGo is trying to recapture its VWAP now. KWE, a little bit of sideways price action, still holding above the VWAP. Really wants to try and recapture 1450.
Solar Edge also moving higher here with that solar rebound here today.
You know what's interesting about TAN, the solar ETF, is that it's had since May. It's had 2 visits at the 200-day SMA, rejected at both, but still getting support from the 50-day SMA. So we got a little bit of a range that's bouncing around in, and I'm thinking that the next move, if it does return to the 200-day SMA around 35, might be a breakout. Especially if there's anything that gets spoken to about when we might get those rate cuts. I think the dot plot might move. It's going to move I think it's going to move the rate sensitive names in one direction or the other, depending on how far out those projections that each individual FOMC member is thinking.
I think you're absolutely right on that.
All right, APVO still holding above its trend line. LSE trying to recapture all those EMAs it lost about 20 minutes ago. RELI trying to find a bottom still. LGHL line group holding, rebounded off its 65 EMA, trying to recapture its VWAP. It almost got back up there, but needs some more time still. KWE looking to put in new highs. Just it's trying to take out that 1450, like I was mentioning about a minute ago. Went right up to it, a little bit over.
MP just on an absolute tear here out of the open. Absolute tear.
Wow. $40 looks like it's that's the
Sure
next
does.
spot. And then you know, if that pulls, I wouldn't be surprised. Over 80 RSI now on the daily for MP. So KWE trying to make new highs happen here, looking for 15. Got through that 1450 area.
Trump asking if he's allowed to appoint himself to be the Fed chair. So I'm sure that's going to ruffle some more feathers. Certain of that.
He's just trolling at that point. He knows.
Exactly. And it'll still get people freaked out.
God. To be able to move the world with the tweet. This is the reality we live in now. Okay, so Costco dropped a bunch. Seems like it might be a good dip buy, says Levy. You know, I feel like there is going to be a good opportunity to get into Costco, but I don't think we're quite there yet. I think I'd be very, very careful about what, you know, trying to, I don't want to say about calling the bottom or anything, but I feel like here might not be enough of a downward move. I think that at the very least, we still need to test that 200-day SMA at 957.14. And even then, I need to see some movement back towards 1,000, if not a recapture of 1,000. Because if we don't get that, I believe that we might end up seeing an 875 print.
By the way, poll results are in. Do you think Bitcoin is fiat? 54% of you said no. 45% of you said yes, and pretty good turnout on that poll too. Looks like Tim Melvin bringing the heat there. So it's pretty split. I'm actually surprised. I thought this was going to be 70+% higher for no, and I'm constantly surprised by our awesome group here. To be clear, I'm excited about these results. I'm excited that these results are closer than I anticipated. That to me is a positive. So
what do those results show? That we have a market.
Exactly. That's well done, 13. Took that right out of my mouth there. Took that right out of my mouth there.
APVO still holding its VWAP, still above the trend line. Looks like we are trying to get some more upward movement here. This thing appears to want 9 again. Needs the volume in order to match. If we don't get that volume, this is coming back down, but it's the setup's there.
Joe saying when I submitted my vote, it was 100% no. Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know too.
He's all
Solar continuing its move higher. Sorry, what was that? 13.
I said he's all contrarian. No. Jesus. MTR worth watching, says Smoked Tuna. I don't think I've looked at that one this morning.
Circle. This is right back to 160. Charles, are you long Circle here? I know you asked about this earlier. Is this one that you're long right now?
Mesa Royalty Trust, another. What is this? This isn't a REIT, is it, or is it a REIT that just owns land that you can drill on? Right, net royalty interest in various oil. Okay. This one in particular looks like $10 is going to be the resistance level. At least one of the earlier ones. If it gets through that, then certainly 12. You have the 500-day SMA at 1026. RSI is already 84. If there's more upside, I think 10 is going to be where I would I'd be taking some gains. You tell me what you think there on MTR that you were asking about. Cost sitting in the upward slope daily, 150 moving average. I haven't looked at the 150 moving
here.
Average before.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't have that on here, but we can go to a bigger chart for Costco if you want.
Sure. I mean, it to me it looks, this formation that we've been dealing with over the past, let's say, 10 months looks kind of bearish to me.
To me, this looks like we have a date with 957. We are going to test this 200-day moving average. You think if we overshoot this 940, 950, to me, that all makes sense. To me, it looks like the next move here is a test of the 200-day. It's worth noting that when we get down to the 200-day, Costco becomes quite interesting. Yeah. Oh, 13. There was something that I wanted to ask you here real quick on the SPY daily chart. We talk a lot about golden crosses and death crosses and how sometimes they're more valuable than others depending on what the price has been doing. If SPY continues to trade up here or maybe even holds in this area, we're going to be looking at a potential golden cross as the 50 moves through the 200. The only issue here is that the death cross happened April 14th. So my question here is pretty simple. Is this enough time for this to be a meaningful event on the chart? I don't know that there's a wrong answer here. It's more I'm looking for your opinion.
Yeah, I'd be inclined to say probably not. How often does the SPY do this, though, is what I'd start to look backwards and see how often this kind of thing happens. Do we get oscillation in the SPY or do we not?
Not a whole lot, no. The last time it happened here was back on COVID. Okay. So that's interesting to me because what caused the cross to happen was a very short-term yet abrupt move down and then a recovery. That's what caused the golden cross. So you could almost say that the same thing is true in this instance. The sharp move down, the temporary blip, the little disturbance, as Trump called it, the move down here then caused this golden cross to set up. So I don't know if we can infer that this is just going to go higher, but
I think we can because we're missing one very important component between those two different events. Between this, what we're seeing here today, and COVID. I think you know what it is, too.
You said there's a big difference there? Sorry, I was reading Izzy's chat here.
One very big component missing right now compared to back then.
High interest rates.
Well,
we have high interest rates now. We didn't.
Right. We got those cut. It was emergency cuts, and that sent the market. So once those rates start getting cut, I think then if they get cut this time, then I think that golden cross will carry a lot more weight. But because we're missing that component, I just don't know that it's going to the crossing will be strong enough.
Okay, that's an interesting one. There you go. Let's see what happens today with the Fed meeting.
APVO really starting to come in now. It looks like all of these just suddenly started to come in at the same time. KWE halted the downside. GPMT.
Oh, yeah, it is. KWE halts to the downside as it broke through the VWAP, too.
Yeah.
IMRX. This actually looks like this might go higher here. Izzy, 225 IMRX.
Wolf filed for Chapter 11.
Does that mean it's spiking and up 200%? It's only up 9%. It is spiking, though. That's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I have to think that, when people get scared out of something like this, it creates the liquidity for good bounce plays. That's just, sometimes the way I look at it. But man, this has been going sideways since it dropped last month. And now it's kind of more of a symmetrical triangle, actually. But
UNH here. This is a good mention here. I have to tell you what, it sure looks like it carved out 300 as a pretty good bottom. So maybe we're starting a potential bounce here. Remember, we talked not all bottoms are generally V's. This has been going sideways for a little bit.
BDRX, this is trying to chew through 126. There's a large wall of sellers right there. And if it gets through that, then it looks like it can recapture its VWAP, which would be the first time since the pre-market that it's done that. So we'll see. Hey, Izzy, grow up strong, big guy.
Ate his Wheaties.
He ate his Wheaties. Remember those commercials with Michael Jordan? Come on, you better eat your Wheaties.
Oh, man, yeah, absolutely. I actually tried Wheaties for the first time because of Michael Jordan, but back at that time, I wanted my Frosted Flakes and my Honey Nut Cheerios without a doubt.
I was a Corn Pops guy.
Oh, my God, Corn Pops were so good. Anyway, BBAI here, this is actually moving lower here. Did see some calls, some $4 calls into this weakness. BBAI.
Mob up 16%. Getting a couple of mentions from that from Lynn.
Now that's
and
MOB,
Jay.
right? This is the one that I was thinking about when I got asked about MBOT earlier. This is Israeli drone defense here. This I could absolutely see moving with the conflict here. By the way, S&P futures continuing to put in new highs here now. So we are continuing to tick back up. 600 tests coming on SPY right now. Let me put that on screen here.
What's driving this? I mean, I would imagine there's some kind of news, so I'm going to look. But maybe Trump's saying something. Apple is going to buy a lot of Trump gold cards. Okay. I love how he
Trump
just keeps
said, yeah, Trump said we're going to make a deal with India.
Oh, I love how he's just kind of telling everybody what Apple's going to do. It's like Tim Cook's not even the CEO anymore, which would be a good thing, actually.
Trump said the Iranians proposed to come to talks in the White House. Apparently they were rebuked.
Oh, here's Trump calling Fed's pal a stupid person. Probably won't cut
Not
today.
A smart guy.
What
What
a gaslighter, dude.
Yeah, he does love to troll people. There's no question here. Oil futures turn negative.
Yeah, we did hear about the Trump mobile. I also read that they don't have anywhere near the capacity to build all the phones they're trying to do by the delivery date in the U.S.
Yeah, no one asked me yet, but just in case they do, I am not interested in moving to a Trump phone from my traditional Samsung Galaxy phone. That's not even on the table. Just FYI.
Got a little bit of a trend line in KWE, and that's unhalted now. So kind of waiting to see if we end up breaking over this trend, but not gonna try and trade this. This thing is really volatile and spready. These other ones again here. So it looks like APVO is still trying to get back above that VWAP and the trend line. None of these other ones are looking that great right now. GoGo made new highs, 1454. ASTS also trying to take out the session high of 49.
Oscar trying to return back to the highs. Ryan, SNES is coming to Chicago. Birth control for rats. Hey, hope it works out. Hope it works out. Don't think I'm going to chase the stock, though. Nice multi-day move here, though, Izzy. You were in this in the mid two, right? This is almost a double from that consolidation area. That was a good mention.
Well, what are we thinking? You thought Beatrix Kiddo killed GoGo? Which one was GoGo? I don't
know what you guys are talking about.
Kill Bill.
Oh God. I obviously have to brush up on that, 13.
I liked the first part better than the second part.
Me too.
Okay, so we're getting asked about SQQQ and TQQQ. Let me take a look and see what those are doing right now. I don't know that we've gotten enough movement in one direction or the other to really set up a trade yet.
We'd be looking for the SQQQ if that's the case here. I've got VWAP here on SQQQ 2235 and 2222 as the price. So,
yeah, these aren't really extended.
Not yet, no.
Yeah. Now that doesn't mean that they couldn't reverse down here, but it wouldn't be these quick moves that we like. It would just probably be one of those slow moving days where it just kind of melts up if the market sells off slowly. We need to see some real extension away from VWAP. I believe the figures we'd like to look at are 115 to 125 for the SQQQ and 125 to 150 for the TQQQ.
And those might adjust too, right? Because when we had outlined that as a pattern, that was around the tariff uncertainty, and we had wild swings in the market.
AVPO.
We don't really have that anymore.
AVPO just blasted off.
Got it. Reddit here actually looks like that might be going from the VWAP as well. APVO pushed away from the trend line break that we outlined earlier, as well as the VWAP.
Yep. Coming up to
Good stuff.
that pre-market high. Let's see what happens if it can continue to get volume expansion, if it pushes through that 936. It's got the setup there. We just need that volume component. It's the one thing that's missing right now to go higher. 955 is the current high now. GPMT just continues to grind higher. It's not a big run or anything, but it's just a slow moving grinder. ASTS new high as well. Now let's see if KWE can try to make some magic happen with this trend line that we have. Go 1460 high.
IMRX still struggled with the 225 spot, although it looks like it's going to try it again.
LGHL looks like this is about to go lower, maybe even lose the 65 EMA and go down towards the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. RELI trying to turn around and come back up, making its way towards VWAP.
This LGHL, this doesn't look any good at all.
No, it doesn't. ASTS pushing higher.
We're still coming into that 50 spot. I think 50 at some point this summer still coming here on ASTS. Jay Mitch asking, what social media do you watch Trump? But I don't think I really watch. If I see him talking, it's because of a clip that I see on X or I see on CNBC. Social media that I follow is X. I don't need to go to any of the other ones. It's without a doubt far and away the best one. And clips from Truth or wherever else, they often get replayed on X. So that's the one I use. I don't even have an active Truth Social account, or a deactivated one for that matter. NBIS having a pretty good day. That might retest 50. Amazon continuing to have a good day. We'll watch Amazon above 218, yesterday's intraday high.
I gotta look and see what the space plays are doing today. See that some of them are having a good day. It looks like a lot of them are positive. The only ones that I don't see that are up are MDALF, SPIR, and WKey.
How did Redwire do after that offering? Redwire.
Yeah, Redwire is still beneath 17. So, but it's kind of in that area where the offering took place. So it got back up over 17 yesterday, came back in, so it's kind of hovering around there. It seems like it's okay for now, but it's come down off the high it was making earlier this week. Rocket Lab, that's up pretty good today, and as is Cooler and SATL. APPO might go. Sorry,
Galt, that's okay. Galt, this had a huge move yesterday. I don't remember talking about this. I actually, funny story, I actually golfed with the CEO randomly of this company. Just he happens to live in the area here. This does seem like it's at a resistance area here, though. Galt up another 16.4% here today. The movement that caused this to move yesterday, we had Wainwright announcing a price target of $6 and issuing a buy rating. GALT is your ticker there. No position for me.
Just waiting to see if APVO is going to set up for its next move up or not. I feel like it's going to have to kind of hold above 850 while it creates this next setup here. So we'll see if we end up getting that. GoGo, meanwhile, is looking for 15. 1475 is the current high. KWE halted to the downside again. This is not looking good.
I think that one might be done, 13.
Yeah. I don't think it's been extended enough, but we are really starting to get some movement down in the SQQQ. Don't know if it's going to rebound here or not. I don't like that it's not extended enough away for the trade, but like I was saying earlier, it just might be that once it starts to reverse, it's just going to slowly move up for the rest of the day, or for a while at least. GoGo still going to 15.
IONQ up near the highs. How's the rest of the quantum theme doing? Rigetti? Not much. QUBT about flat. So quantum theme not great here today. You guys were saying TMC was on the ponytails thing this morning, the Nigerians. What was the deal with that? Who mentioned that one?
Smoke is saying APVO 1 minute volume. Keep watching that.
TMC on Nigerians morning picks. Okay. This is actually still moving here from the open.
Mob Boom.
That's the Israeli drone company.
All right, looks like APVO is still trying to get further up in the 9 area. It's holding 9, it looks like. Like it wants to get into 10.
Apple at the highs here. Still under 200 though.
Not a whole lot of hints. ASTS still grinding higher. You might get your 50.
We got more time for that too, but that sure feels strong, ASTS. NVTS. That's Navitas Semiconductor, right?
NV. Oh, I must have typed it wrong. It's NVTS, right?
Yeah, that's trading higher here.
What does daily chart look like? Okay, so it's trying to recover off of the 917 high. APVO, is that doing the thing? It's still trying to get over that 955 high it put in earlier. Might get going. We'll see this 1 minute chart that you're talking about here. Oh, I see what you're talking about. So that's coming up to that 955 breakout spot. This volume really does need to expand right here so we can get over that. Because if it doesn't, I think it goes lower. Okay, here we go. We're getting it.
Real quick here, folks, just looking ahead on the schedule here today, we actually do have 2 all accesses here today. First one is going to start in 10 minutes here. Then 13 and I are going to come back for a minute or two before we toss it to Dan for the next one.
Go hit 1510. There's your 15.
Yassine, levels on APVO. The next one we had here is this 941. This was the pre-market high. The day high candle here put in one at 955. So that 941 to 955, that's going to be your top end resistance area. We're pulling off of that spot right now. So far, though, we're holding 9. And the other key level that we had that we waved bye-bye to on this push was the trend line break. That was down here at 776. Yes, Jay, I do remember your EAF. Someone else mentioned that is continuing to tick up here. I actually made money on that the first time around, pretty short term, but made some money off of that. Good stuff on EAF.
We still need to see better volume in APVO. It looked like it was about to take out that 955, but didn't quite do it yet. Getting asked about levels. Let me just pull some up here while it tries to do this this move. And to me, it looks like, they're going to be much further up, but the next level I see would be like 12. That's the next one I'd see that's clear resistance. But we got to get past that 955, and so far it's not looking like that's happening quite yet. Really nice volume today, though, comparatively. This hasn't had volume like this in, oh gosh, since April, it looks like. But it's still not finished yet. Looks like it still wants to try and push higher. ASTS is Laura in Florida. Where's that at now? No, it's still grinding higher. 43.68 is not the high. Looks like NVTS also put in a new high, 720. And not seeing much else. Maybe SGMT is going to have a successful recapture of the 200 EMA on the 5-minute here. TQQQ continues to grind higher. Marvell broke through 77, says Joseph Schmel.
We're also getting some other semis to move higher here. NVIDIA, real strong chart there. So also seeing some AMD option activity here. Oh my God, can I click on the right ticker for heaven's sake? AMD hasn't really moved yet. ASML, call options on that.
All right, still watching to see if APVO is going to make this move through 955 or not.
Nuke name is really quieted down here today.
Well, there's some nuclear facilities getting bombed.
Yeah, that's true. Nice to see you again, Fairchild. Fairchild saying more Air National Guard maneuvers today, loud with the F-35s and the F-18s. Pretty cool to watch, though, isn't it?
That'd be cool.
It's options expiry on Friday, Jonathan. Is it a triple witching?
Or is it a quad?
I'll get you an answer on that. Let me find that calendar here. June 20th. Indeed, that is going to be your triple witching. That is this week.
It's a triple, not a quad?
It says it's a triple here. I'll look up the quad. I don't think so, though.
Okay. I don't think it's going to make a difference one way or the other, but you know, the fact that we have that
no, it's both. So it's both. The same day listed here for the quad witch date.
Okay. Well, either way, it's you know, going to be one crazy day coming off of you know, the holiday after we get a rate decision with little time to react to it. It's expiration of futures, and why don't you take a stab at explaining it there, because I'll probably go on for a while.
Yeah, it's just when all of these different option chains expire on the same day, and you get a lot of volatility around the open and the close of that day. What does it actually mean long term? It's probably debatable. I don't really know. I just know on those days, your option settlement prices are often very volatile, especially near the end of the day.
Look at this fight with APVO right now. It is trying to push higher.
Yeah, let me switch to that. That seems to be. I can't believe I didn't get filled on this one earlier.
Yeah, Smoke, I'm really thinking that it could be the case. It's whatever move we're going to get, it's whether it be upside or downside, it's going to happen fast. This thing just has you know, that kind of spread, that kind of volatility. Oh, SNES is working on the mosquitoes right now. That's interesting. I guess that did end up kind of working out. Wow,
that was a good one. I mean, that's moved up. I guess since Story Trading was talking about that, it's had a really good couple of days here too.
This APVO, man, this thing is just whipping all around. Lion Atlas is saying he likes edit. We've looked at that one a lot of times. I think that is one of the better gene editing ones, right?
Which one? Sorry?
Edit. EDIT.
Yeah, it's one of the smaller ones. The three that I trade kind of in sympathy are EDIT, NTLA, and CRISPR. CRISPR is going to be your best in breed, though.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. EDIT does have a really great pipeline, which is one of the reasons that it moves so nicely on this.
Oil data out. Inventory builds.
Crude trading up a little bit on that. It was remember, it actually moved down. Crude still holding here, down 1.4%.
They're starting to walk down APVO, unless some kind of buyer comes in and helps lift this thing. Okay, well, there that was. Man, this thing is just wild to watch. Hey, it's at 9:30. Hey, it's under 9. Well, that does that. Look at some of these other ones. Looks like ASTS is knocking on the door at 44. GPMT now at 260. NVTS seems like that pulled off of 720. LSE sideways. RELI trying to figure it out. BDRX still under VWAP. GoGo went to 1510, still up in that area, but under 15. Looks like it's setting up for its next move up, but we need to see better volume out of that.
Ride here getting mentioned by Smoke Tuna. This one right at its VWAP, about to go through it. The volume is expanding. It's a penny stock, so I'm not going to play it, but watching it here.
Crisp.
Yeah, and Crisp. So Zach's giving you the Crisp. The ticker is CRSP without the I, and then the name of the company is CRISPR.
Yeah. You know, if APVO can't make that move soon, I'm going to have to think that there's a pull here, but it looks like it's going to happen.
There we go.
There we go. I just had to threaten it. That's
all you had to do was talk about it, dude.
You better get moving. There we go. There's the move.
There's the big pop. Oh, my.
There's the move.
Big win here for anyone that's stuck with APVO. Yeah. I didn't get billed on this one, but, man, good stuff.
Pills are good. They're okay.
You know what though? I'm glad this move happened here before the all access. So,
yeah.
And you know what, 13. We're only going to be coming back here for 2 minutes, so you don't need to stick around and come back. We can just we'll see you on Friday.
No. I'll stick around and say bye.
Okay. All right. Let's give a send off here, at least for right now. We'll move over to all access and then we'll come back and say hi again.
Stick around. I'll be back, folks.
That's the send-off, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. We will be back here. Both of us will be back temporarily. Again, 2 all access here today. Sorry about that, folks. We're going to go to the first one here. We'll be back before we move to the second one. So enjoy your all access starting right now. Okay, producer, way to go.
Thanks, Ryan. Hey, Zingers, and welcome to All Access. I've got a wonderful guest for you today. It is Christopher Ruddy, the CEO of Newsmax. The NYSE ticker is NMAX. He's joining us for an exclusive talk today. All Access starts right now. And it is my pleasure to welcome in the CEO of Newsmax, Christopher Ruddy. It's fantastic to be with you today, Chris.
Dan, thank you for having me. I'm really looking forward to this.
Me as well. Well, listen, let's start with this. For the very few now that aren't familiar, can you please give us an overview of Newsmax?
Well, I don't know if there's a quick overview. Newsmax is a multimedia company. We started out as a digital media, now one of a major force in cable and OTT news. Our cable news channel is number 4 in the United States for news in Q1. Nielsen says we were number 5 of all cable channels, which is a pretty big number. There's hundreds of cable channels. The Reuters Institute came out with a study last year saying there were 12 top U.S. news media brands. We were one of them. So Forbes had once referred to Newsmax as a news powerhouse. I think it's a fair statement. And we reach about 40 million people, and we just went public this year on the New York Stock Exchange.
Now, it's exciting times, and I'm telling you, the quick growth for you guys at Newsmax has been something to watch. And Chris, I wanted to talk to you about when it comes to cable news. I mean, you know, to be honest, Newsmax is a fairly newcomer on the scene, yet, as you talked about, it's a massive viewership of about 40 million viewers. What is it that is behind that massive appeal? What do you believe, you know, is bringing all these people to Newsmax, and more importantly, keeps them coming back for more?
Well, there's a lot to unravel there. I think that there's a center-right market for news in the United States that has long been dominated by Fox News, and Fox is part of the Fox Corporation, and I don't know, it's worth $15 to $20 billion. It's a huge market. They've really not had a competitor until Newsmax came along. They did a lot of things, in fact, to try to stop us along the way, but we prevailed. We're now on every major cable system. And as the ecosystem of cable is contracting, Newsmax has been rising. We believe that it's still going to be a very lucrative cash flow business for many years to come, and that cable will be important for live news, live sports, and we're part of that. So that's very positive. At the same time, we have a very strong streaming service, OTT channel called Newsmax 2. According to our data, about 22 million Americans tuned into that channel last month, which is a huge number, and it's growing. It was up significantly over last year, the same period. And then we have a plus service where people can get all of our channels. We actually have 3 channels now, and a lot of documentaries, films, and we're even making that sort of family entertainment program as well. So we're very excited about that, and it's I think a very good start.
It absolutely is. And, you allude to this. What is even equally impressive, Chris, is the inroads Newsmax has made in the OTT market. Newsmax 2, fast channel, that obviously your company's streaming channel, saw 25% year over year growth in May. What do you attribute that double digit growth to? And how is the growth so far in June?
Well, our Q1 of this year, Nielsen ratings showed we had a 50% increase in total audience for our cable channel. I mean, you've been around, Dan, a while covering media companies. You know, these numbers don't happen by accident. It's a force, it's a movement. And I think the pitch I make to investors is don't invest in Newsmax because we're reaching 40 million people or that we have a lot of influence. Invest in Newsmax because we're a growing company that's in a very important market, the center right market, which has been widely overlooked. We have a long history of success in growth in that area. And we are on all the major systems now to make it capable as we grow into those ratings. So when I talked about Reuters saying there were 12 top media companies, most of them, if not all, are billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar companies. Newsmax is a new entrance. The Financial Times said right after we went public that Newsmax is essentially going to grow into its ratings. It has a lot of revenue growth potential. And we've seen that in the past several years. Revenues are up overall over the past several years over 300%, which is a remarkable number. We're continuing to see revenue growth in this year.
Yeah, nothing like being a disruptor, Chris, as you well know. And it's the numbers are very, very impressive. And I'm interested to ask you about, this. Are more of the viewers coming to Newsmax from cable TV or streaming on mobile devices? And in your perspective, which is better from a revenue advertising standpoint? How do you see that possibly evolving over time?
Okay, well, again, that's a good question, and I like the end part, evolving over time. Right now, the golden goose is cable. Cable brings us cable license fees are very significant. We can't reveal those fees because of confidentiality agreements, but they have been growing very significantly. And we're still getting fees at a fraction of what other competitors. For example, our ratings are very close to CNN's ratings, yet they get a multiple of what we get from cable operators. So we have room to grow into that. Advertising has been strong and growing on the cable ecosystem for us. But where we see the future is both on the free OTT channel, and we also see it in the streaming service and other things that we're doing. So what I see Newsmax is a very valuable traditional play as an investment in a company, and with an upside of the OTT streaming and fast technologies that are hitting.
Oh, that's perfectly said. That's the kind of the day and age we're living in. This is also something that I thought was fascinating. In addition to increasing the number of viewers on Newsmax 2, they're also staying longer. And obviously, we know how important that is. Tell us why that is important and what Newsmax is doing in keeping viewers on Newsmax 2 longer.
Well, in the key demo, 35 to 64, we had the longest demo in cable news for daytime viewers. I mean, that's pretty amazing. Nielsen
Yeah.
reports some really fascinating things. People like our channel. We have a real strong following. I give an example. In Q1, 4+ million people came to Newsmax, never once went to Fox News to watch. That's an
Wow.
amazing number of people
That's
out of
done.
the cable ecosystem. So it's showing that we're building not only a wide and broad audience, but we're also building a unique and exclusive audience. And that's going to serve us across all our platforms. Because remember, when people watch cable, they can still download our app. They can still become a Newsmax Plus member. And we have very diverse, what's great is different diverse revenue streams. We have advertising, we have subscription income, which is from the cable license fees. That's essentially subscription income. And then streaming, we sell advertising, but we also sell our digital products. We have digital advertising. We have digital newsletters and publications. We even publish books under our title subsidiary Humanix Books. We've had 6 New York Times bestsellers. So the overall impact of Newsmax, Dan, I like to say that the business model is all for all. We're on all platforms for all people. And I think that's what we've been a pathfinder on that. We've been an innovator. You called us a disruptor. We are, but we're also an innovator. And I think the future is going to be Newsmax for other media companies.
Yeah, Chris, I'm also going to say there's nothing Newsmax doesn't do. So that's always a good thing as well. You guys are in everything. And this is going to help, Chris, with that growth. I know Newsmax just inked a deal with Comcast to be featured on Comcast entertainment devices across the United States. What does that mean for Newsmax's reach and business, of course? But how big of a deal is that for the company?
Well, we think it's very significant. First of all, Comcast is one of the largest cable providers in the United States. It's a great media company, great enterprise. We've always had a good relationship with Comcast. They carry our channel on Xfinity, the cable channel, but they have the ability for people to go through on their Xfinity platform and also Zumo to get Newsmax and to download apps. So again, we believe we can cross-sell people into those apps, and we think it's a very positive deal. And we also signed with Hulu. Hulu Plus was the last major pay TV cable operator not to have Newsmax, and we're expected to be on Hulu Plus platforms this summer. That puts us with Fubo. That puts us with YouTube TV. And a number of other major players. So we are growing, and I think you're going to see significant growth in revenues ahead, and we expect profits eventually.
Yeah, and listen, the deals as you mentioned are coming in. You just talked about the deal with Hulu in May, and obviously we just talked about Comcast. Newsmax going from this scrappy cable news company to a formidable entertainment company. You mentioned all the other things you guys are doing as well. Chris, what do you credit the success of Newsmax to?
Well, one of the things that I think people have to remember, when Fox started, Rupert Murdoch spent billions of dollars to create that, and it took years to make money, and there's huge infrastructure costs. Newsmax was able to develop this company with about $150 million worth of capital over the past 10 years. Our cable channel just got into its last final cable agreements, and we see a really huge potential and upside in the years ahead. And we did it with a fraction. And I think the success of it is that Newsmax is so widely penetrated, not only on our own ecosystem digitally, but social media. We have about 20 million cumulative followers across all the social media platforms. So we have a big ability to reach people, to promote the Newsmax cable channel, the FAST channel, the Plus service, and other products and services that we offer. Very few companies have this inbuilt marketing platform that we have.
Incredibly versatile. And listen, this just also will show how much Newsmax has grown. At the end of June, Chris, I know Newsmax will be joining the U.S. Small Cap Russell 2000 Index. I know that has to feel good. What message does that send to your shareholders and the institutional investors? And what's in store for Newsmax in the future?
Well, this is a really important point. Russell 2000, 3000 Index, the leading small cap, mid cap companies in the United States, Newsmax is expecting to be part of that. We've been added now for a couple of weeks on the list. And so that's very exciting. What that means is that there'll be a lot of automatic purchases of our shares through ETFs and other index funds that use the Russell for its investment guidance. And that will give, we believe, a very significant inflow of purchases and will benefit not only the company, but the shareholders. So we think it's a very exciting opportunity for us, but we think it's the beginning of other potential indexes and programs that'll start taking Newsmax, especially when they see that the very strong fundamentals the company has.
Well, it was an absolute pleasure talking with you today, Chris. Great things happening. It's a great times ahead. Thanks so much for your time.
Well, Dan, thank you. We really appreciate it.
Hey, pleasure and honor was all mine. That was the CEO of Newsmax, Christopher Ruddy there. NYSE ticker is NMAX. Now let's send it back to the man who invented the Matrix, the great Ryan Faluna.
Indeed. And actually, am I on? I don't see myself here. Okay. I did invent the Matrix. I'm actually still undecided on if I want to get out of the Matrix or stay plugged into the Matrix. This is what I'm dealing with on a regular basis. Dan's one of the only people that figured that out. 13, before we get going here, did you want to give an update on APVO?
Yeah, this thing continued to break out while we were getting that interview with Newsmax. Hit a high of 1311. I even mentioned that I think this would be wise to sell into this kind of strength. Don't know how high this is going to go, but remember, this is the company that has the offering on the table for over 10 million shares. They're trying to raise $25 million, and I don't think that they're going to make that offering all at once. I could do that over time. Company does need cash one way or the other, so just keep that in mind as you are trading this, that they do have that on the table. It's been a great move here for APVO. Yeah. I hope everybody that traded this made some really good money on it, and hopefully you get to hold on to that money and don't make any mistakes exiting this. But great move here with APVO. Hopefully everybody had a great time trading this. I'll be back here tomorrow, and I'm sorry, not tomorrow, Friday. I'll be off tomorrow, probably in the pool, and enjoying myself. Hopefully everybody else does the same. Enjoy your Juneteenth, everybody. Take care.
All right. Thank you, 13. Great call there on APVO. Yeah, I'm a little salty I didn't get filled. Honestly, but that's okay. We'll have another opportunity tomorrow. We're definitely not going to chase. Now it's my pleasure to move back to Dan. Dan, I got to say, after watching that whole thing, why didn't I take the blue pill?
Well, listen, I'm a red pill guy, but sometimes you really think you got to take the blue because it's like, I'm forgetting, his Cypher's name and the actor's name, and that he was like, just make me an actor. Just give me the pill and make me someone famous. Like an actor. I mean, sometimes you want that, man. I want the truth.
Yeah, me too. I was setting you up for that. I ain't messing around with anything blue, pills, or anything else. What do you got coming up for us on the next All Access here, Dan?
Well, first off, it's great to see you.
Me too, especially in that suit. You're looking sharp today, dude. That's a really nice suit.
Listen, if I can look a fifth as good as you, I'm winning.
True.
You look great as well, by the way.
Lots of exercise and a little tan.
5-mile walks. It's working. I just need to do like 4 more miles. I got another great guest, Ryan. I've got Lance Allstat, the chairman and CEO of Biorestorative Therapies. I've talked to him recently. They've got some great stuff going on there. So looking forward to another discussion with him.
All right, Dan, take it away. I'll see you afterwards.
Thank you so much. Hey, Zingers, and welcome back to All Access. I got that wonderful guest for you today, another one, and that's Lance Allstott, the chairman and CEO of Biorestorative Therapies. The NASDAQ ticker is BRTX. He's joining us for another exclusive talk today. All Access starts right now. And it is my pleasure to welcome back in the chairman and CEO of Biorestorative Therapies, Lance Allstott. It's fantastic to be with you again, Lance.
Dan, great to see you again.
Yeah, like I said, it's a great time to be alive. And when I'm with Lance Allstott, I'm in great hands. So very excited for another discussion with you.
Okay.
Let's start with this. I know that, Lance, that Biorestorative Therapies just released some new preliminary data from the phase 2 trial of BRTX-100 for the treatment of chronic lumbar disc disease at the International Society for Stem Cell Research's annual meeting. Can you tell us about the results of the 30-patient trial, and did the preliminary data meet the endpoints of the trial?
Yeah, thank you for the question, and thank you for having me on again. It's great to see you. Last time I was on, we were preparing for this conference. It's one of the most prestigious conferences in our industry. So we were really excited about the composition of data that we were putting together. The preliminary blinded data from the first 36 patients treated in the phase 2 trial of BRTX 100 are really highly encouraging. So at 52 weeks, over 74% of subjects demonstrated a greater than 50% improvement in function based on the ODI scale, and over 72% reported a greater than 50% reduction in pain based on the VAS scale. Both two are very commonly used scales for these types of subjective measures, both substantially exceeding the FDA's clinically meaningful threshold of 30%. These results, which were presented at this ISSCR conference in Hong Kong last week, I think made a big splash and really affirmed the powerful potential of BRTX 100 to transform how we treat chronic lumbar disc disease, a condition with very limited therapeutic options and a very large unmet need.
It's so great to hear. Great news, on your guys' end, Lance. And you alluded to this, when it comes to the International Society for Stem Cell Research. It's a very prestigious conference. What was the reasoning behind making sure that you presented there, and how important was it for the company to present the data at that meeting?
Well, I think it's an honor to present the data at the meeting and to attend that meeting, not just as a bystander, but as a participant with a paper, with a podium and an audience. And that's something that you have to qualify for, and it's not something that you just sort of sign up for. So it was an honor to be selected, and the fact that our data was as strong as it was, I think, is a testament to the combination of us being excited of being there and of course the invitation to present.
That's fantastic. Let's talk about BRTC-100, what it does and what makes it different from other drugs in development for chronic lumbar disc disease, which we know obviously affects a lot of people.
Right. So for those that aren't aware, it's an autologous stem cell therapy, meaning it uses the patient's own bone marrow derived stem cells, which are specially cultured under low oxygen or hypoxic condition, really to mimic the environment of the spine's damaged discs. We then inject those enhanced cells directly into the affected disc, where they reduce inflammation, they promote repair, and help regenerate disc tissue at the source of the problem. So what makes BRTX 100 truly a differentiated product is that we're not masking the pain, we're targeting the root cause of the disc degeneration with a biologically active regenerative approach. Most other treatments like opioids, steroids, or even some emerging injectables, they only offer temporary pain relief, so they're really just treating the symptoms. Others in the regenerative space often use an allogeneic or a donor-derived cell, which comes with certain immunity risks and variability. While we think there's room, because of the size of this market, for many modalities within cellular therapy, we believe the current solutions for musculoskeletal related disorders is totally unacceptable. Our therapy is personalized, meaning it comes directly from the patient's own body. It's targeted, meaning it's precisely injected into the damaged discs, and it's durable with effects lasting up to 7 years in some patients. So this makes BRTX 100 really first-in-class candidate with the potential to redefine how we treat chronic lumbar disc disease, offering patients long-term relief without surgery and creating a differentiated high-value opportunity for investors.
Now, Lance, speaking of chronic lumbar disc disease, how big of a problem is it in the U.S. and internationally? And, right now, what are the current treatments? How much money is spent to treat chronic back pain, and what do you believe is the forecasted growth of the market?
Well, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and that's just in the U.S. alone. So we always like to multiply that by 2 when we're thinking about rest of world. And today, I would say the most frequently used modalities include pharmacological solutions like opioids and other anti-inflammatories. And we can spend an hour on that discussion alone, because that problem is getting worse, not better. And it's a huge issue, with over 200,000 Americans alone dying each year of opioid addiction. Alternatively, there's surgical intervention, which makes up billions of dollars of instrumentation and costs related to keeping people outside of work and recovery and trauma. So we really don't believe there are acceptable solutions today. We think we provide a very sophisticated, elegant solution, and we create that chasm of opportunity between conservative therapy and surgical intervention. This is a market that we think has a very strong growth factor on it once some of these modalities in cell therapy are approved at the federal level. There are states that are starting to open up now where we're exploring that. We have a keen interest in being first mover in some of these states, but we want to make sure that we're doing the right thing and being extremely thoughtful and deliberate in our approach.
No, it's definitely the perfect way to encapsulate the end to be. And Lance, I know you already announced data from a phase 2 trial of 15 patients. What were the results of that trial? And it was clearly enough, obviously, to double it to 30 patients.
Well, it's very similar, and that's what we like to see. So we're seeing that as we're scaling on this trial, regardless of whether there are 15 patients or 36 patients, and who knows, there could be an announcement around the corner related to more patients, because we're really excited about our pace and the acceleration of our enrollment, especially in the back half of this year. We think that the data that we've seen today and the results that we've seen across the board, 15 patients, 36 patients, what comes next, we're hopeful and optimistic that we're going to have the same type of results that are meaningfully more significant than what is held out for us by the FDA as their minimum threshold.
For sure. Let's talk, Lance, about what's next. When does BioRestorative expect to enroll more patients in the trial, and is that goal still to enroll as many as 90 patients?
That's a really good question. Well, first of all, let me just say that the results, I believe, are significantly de-risked in the program. BRTX 100 is now tracking towards regulatory milestones with strong clinical momentum. The product has FDA Fast Track designation. We believe these phase 2 outcomes really set the stage for a successful phase 2 trial and beyond, with a focus on accelerating to a commercial license. From a market perspective, chronic lumbar disc disease, we talked about it. It affects millions of people globally. Very few non-surgical solutions. And we're really a first-in-class autologous stem cell therapy, positioning to capture very meaningful share in a multi-billion-dollar market opportunity.
It's fascinating stuff, Lance. And, spin it forward here a little bit, if you would. Tell us a little bit about the future roadmap that you see for BRTX 100 beyond this phase 2 trial.
So, our goal is, I just want to stay focused. So our goal remains to enroll up to 99 patients in total for the trial. And we are kind of right on track with the compelling safety and efficacy data from the first 30 patients now in hand, first 36 patients now in hand, and the presentation that we did in Hong Kong last week. We're entering this key expansion phase. So we expect to accelerate the enrollment throughout the second half of the year, with new clinical sites coming online. And I think because of the data, increased physician interest now that this data has been made public. So the trial is designed to be randomized and placebo-controlled, and we're seeing growth momentum from both investigators and patients, especially given the unmet need in chronic lumbar disc disease. The next phase of enrollment is really about scaling that validation, building on the strong signal we've seen so far. So preparing some of the groundwork for a potential pivotal phase 3 trial. We believe that these steps are essential as we work towards all of the regulatory milestones in front of us, and ultimately position BRTX 100 as a first-in-class therapy in a market with very few options.
Well, wishing you and everyone at BioRestore nothing the best with this going forward. Lance, an absolute pleasure talking with you today again. And I just really want to thank you a lot for your time and what you guys are
Dan,
doing.
awesome to see you. You look great. The walk-in is definitely working. And we look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Hey, if I can only look as good as you someday, I'm going to at least close to that, Lance. Thanks so much.
Cell therapy. Cell therapy. Get on the screen, everyone.
I'm ready. Thanks so much.
All right.
That was the chairman and CEO of BioRestorative Therapies, Lance Allstott. Their NASDAQ ticker is BRTX. Now let's send it back to the man who helped change the world by inventing the legendary board game Risk, the great Ryan Faluna. I'll take Britain.
Okay, I'm still undefeated, by the way, in Risk. So I'll take that to the bank here. Dan, great.
I used to play that for like hours a day.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I used to play a computerized version before class started back in, I think it was middle school. We just had it on a computer and a bunch of us got there early. We play that every single day. Classic game there. Dan, really good job doing double duty here today. A lot of good stuff. I think you earned yourself a lunch break here today.
All right, I'm going to have maybe some roast beast. Maybe I'll have some pierogies in Chicago
Roast
style.
beast. Okay. Sounds good. Enjoy. Dan, thanks for everything. We'll catch you next time. That is Dan Leach. I really do like the suit, by the way. That was not a put on. I think that is a really, really sharp color. Dan making it look good. Dan leaves room now for the Story Trading Boys. And oh my gosh, are these folks hot? Let's go ahead and bring them on. Here comes Ben, Rhett, and the Godfather. Ben, I'm also going to go ahead and share your charts. Really quickly here, I'm just going to start off. Great job on SNES and VG. We had multiple chat members this morning talking about some of these picks that you guys made.
SNES and what's the other one you mentioned?
VG, Victor Golf.
Oh, VG, I don't think was ours. SNES definitely ours, though.
Okay, this person has been asking you about VG for a while, said it was a doubles from when you first talked about it.
I don't remember VG.
Take the credit, Ben. What do you got coming up for us?
Well, look, we got Catalyst driving a lot of news on ASTS, moving on. Significant news this morning. We've nailed that all the way up to this level. It was the top pick of the day today. I'm still in some shares. SNES, again, material news coming out this morning from the CEO, and that is pumping. We'll talk about that. IMRX, a lot of material news out there. MRVL, and Zim on the war stuff. Oh my gosh, AOI makes me want to cry. Godfather, we got to talk about that. Rocket Lab moving. There's a lot of stuff going on. It's crazy. Okay,
you guys have a huge agenda and slate. I'm going to get out of your way. Have a good one, and I'll see you in a little bit.
Appreciate it.
You too. Let's look at the daily chart on ASTS. What a call this has been. Still one of my largest positions in my retirement account. I sold 5% on Friday to add into SNES. So actually, I can't be disappointed with that. That's worked out well. But this morning, expanding Vodafone India breaks to a new all-time high again. My end-of-year price objective has always been 50 plus. Brett, Godfather, any thoughts on ASTS?
Yeah, look, it's flipped, right? Remember when they put out news and nobody cared and the stock just wouldn't move? You were one of the few guys that said when it was sort of sitting around $19 that this is the time. I got to say that's probably one of the most epic calls that's happened in the market in the last kind of 8 months. So I got to go back and give you full kudos for that. But yeah, look, not only do the social media folks that follow this, keep the excitement going. But the company's in that phase now, right, where the infrastructure is in place, and they're doing exactly what you would expect them to do, which is to sign these deals. And global coverage means a lot of potential subscribers, and obviously there's a lot in India. So, I think it's really great when a stock actually goes up on good news as opposed to going down on good news, which suggests
which was a possibility today.
It was
a possibility after being up this month.
I swung it on the open, but only on partial size because A, I was concerned about that, and B, I wasn't sure what we were going to get in terms of geopolitical today and the Fed. But it suggests to me that the market still doesn't think all the good news is baked into this name. There's still this large short position too, which is baffling me.
Yeah. So, all right, Rhett, you got any thoughts on ASTS?
No, it's nice. I mean, more news keeps coming out on it. It's amazing, and I look forward to the future with them.
This is you're killing it because you have a massive position. Like your retirement account is like 40% ASTS, right?
Yeah, I will say it has been doing very good recently, and I think my average in total, I think, is 25 or 26 now.
Have
And
you
I
ever
did
sold
sell
any yet in your retirement?
Yeah, I did sell some on the live. I sold, I think it was on like 2% or something I sold.
Cool.
And that was not yesterday, but the day before. I think it was
Well,
on Monday.
we still have that red A on our story trading handle on X, and as long as that red A is out there, it's like the bat signal, which means we're still bullish ASTS long term. So,
oh yeah,
not removing that just quite yet. All right, let's move on to Nasdaq. I have to give this disclaimer that they are a sponsor of story trading. This mention here has nothing to do with that. I'm not being paid at all to say this. Look, I bought into this a long time ago. Meaning I bought into the thesis a long time ago, and I bought this, and I've been increasing the position. That a point catalyst on Friday, which turned out to be a great decision. I bought more of it, and then we learned more from the CEO this morning, and I kept buying more. Technically, this thing's gone. Look at this; it's just so clear to me. Rhett, I don't know if you see anything different, but I think $5 is coming next and fast, maybe.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
The RSI is oversold on the daily, but just considering this technical breakout and the fundamentals of, inflecting to profitability, it looks like is going to be happening in the next 2 to 3 quarters. So you see the same thing, technically?
Yep, I'm looking at the same thing as you.
Yeah, I actually bought more just for a day trade today. I added more at like 420 because I think there's a possibility to head towards 5 today. Godfather, have you been watching this Sinestec story unfold at all? What are your thoughts on that?
Yes, and I listened to the interview this morning, and these public companies are obviously constrained about what they can talk about prior to actually press releasing things. But I think there was enough hints here that the irons in the fire that they have not only could accelerate timelines to break even that they talked about in 2026, into potentially 2025. And that means, in excess of 7 million in revenue. And as you pointed out, just any one of these programs, if you get full scale adoption, one single program in New York could be 10, right? So,
crap, I think I got to take a loss on this yard mile.
Upward revisions are looking like they're in the near future here for Sinestec. In addition, there was a few other things that he just kind of quietly, tucked in there when you start asking him about international, like new distribution agreements, for example. These approvals in Australia and New Zealand. Coming in September. I didn't realize that they were actually on a goal to fully eradicate rats by 2050. That was new information to me. So, a lot of value add every time he speaks. He seems to drop.
I gotta say, it's rare to get a microcap CEO to speak, and then they actually follow through on whatever they say. I'd say 80 to 90% of the time, whatever that they're telling you, I mean, either it never works out or it takes like years to work out. But so far, it's been pretty good.
I'm waiting to start walking around because I don't know where you guys are at, but where I'm at in Florida, walking around everywhere, stores, like just out and about, like the malls, everywhere you walk, you see probably within like 50 foot to 100 foot distance of those black little boxes that are everywhere. But it's just the poison in them. I'm waiting for them all to get switched to Sinestecs.
Cool. All right. I didn't talk to you about this, Godfather. IMRX, I have a little bit of a thesis today. I was on the conference call yesterday, so they had data out on the phase 2. They're saying they want to start the pivotal phase 3. To me, the data continues to look good for curing pancreatic cancer. Not curing, but significantly to be a really good treatment for pancreatic cancer. There is one patient who's cured. But yesterday was really disappointing. It's done this before on Good News. And my thesis yesterday, when it didn't work out, was that they need to raise money, and these are institutions, hedge funds, getting ahead of a raise and shorting, and then they cover on an offering, right? This bullshit you often see with microcaps and biotechs. That's what I thought happened yesterday. Then this morning, guns blazing, pre-market, it started moving on a couple catalysts. An insider buy yesterday, a director picked up I think, was it $1 million worth of shares? Picked up a nice chunk of shares. He didn't really have much before. And also analysts came out with upgrades. Mizuho going from 8 to 10. Chardon maintaining at 13. There's another one in here. Where is it? There's one more. Mizuho, where is it? Needham maintaining at 9. All right. So I don't know what you think of this. Is it just the insider buy and the analyst upgrades, or is it possible that those institutions were shorting yesterday, expecting to participate in an offering, and the companies maybe saying not so fast, we're working on a deal with big pharma? I don't know. What do you make of this price?
Look, it's hard to know, what contributes to a single candle. The stock has ground its way from early May in the $1.30 range up here. So they came out with this news. The market reaction actually wasn't overwhelming. I mean, we did get that nice bump the day before. So I mean, with such a low float, it could simply be one guy looking for an exit, right? That impacted the stock. Plus, you had a delay in terms of the analysts actually writing the reports and getting out on the tape on this. So I think people were probably scratching their heads going, how significant is this? Remember, the patient sizes are small here, but pancreatic
it's bigger now. The phase 2, it used to be small. Like when we first covered this a couple quarters ago, it was like 6 or 7 patients, but I think it's over 100 on the latest trial.
I think you need to zoom out and look at the trajectory here, which is that this thing is grinding higher, which suggests to me that there is accumulation here. And all of these price targets, you stopped short of actually mentioning what they were, but a lot of these are in the double-digit range, right? So I think this is one where you try not to get too caught up in the day-to-day, and if you believe in the technology, which I do, you just put a little bit in your long-term account in the corner and forget about it.
Beautiful.
Because it does have that sort of 5x possibility in the near term. That's where the average of all the analyst target prices sit, right?
Yes. So, all right. I know there's a lot of stocks you want to talk about. I'm gonna, if you don't mind, I'd love to hear from these on these big caps first. Marvell and AMD. Marvell, some news out this morning, bunch of catalyst upgrades. It's in this gap, which makes me think it can run to 83. AMD, you've been all over this they had the conference last week, and it's been moving above the 200 DMA. So take it away on these two.
Yeah, well, look, we talked about AMD. It was kind of the same thing, right? It didn't really move right after the conference. And then a day later, you had all the analysts come out, and there were some pretty material target upgrades. I think the highest profile one was Jefferies going to 140. But look, AI, the hardware trade has come back again, and mostly, affirmed by the NVIDIA numbers. AVGO, TSM, these sort of market leading names have been bouncing close to their 52-week highs. But if you pull up the charts of the KLACs and the WDC.
Well, CoreWeave at a new 52-week high, by the way. Just got that alert.
Yeah,
Crazy.
I know, the squeeze continues.
Wow.
The squeeze continues. When will they do an issue? The minute they do an issue, you should see a pop in Core Scientific, CORZ. Anything that increases the balance sheet strength at CoreWeave will be a benefit.
$83 billion at CoreWeave, and CORZ at $3.5 billion right now.
But the point I was trying to make is that you're starting to see a broadening out of this rally in AI hardware names beyond those kind of leaders. Look at the chart of WDC, look at the chart of KLAC, look at the chart of Dell recently. So the Marvell, they had their analyst day or their IR day. They talked about a 60% increase in TAM. They talked about numbers that, if you do the math, work out to something like $8 in EPS for 2028. Well, consensus numbers are around 5. So there continues to be huge tailwinds here. I spent some time looking at the relative valuations of AMD and NVIDIA yesterday, just as a sort of another tick to the technical picture, which is looking great, right? We breached that 200-day moving average. We held above it. I showed a chart on our Discord about how the gap between NVIDIA and AMD on a pure price basis, if you compare the two, is at one of the the largest disparities. So it looks like it's closing that on sentiment. The analysts love this new product, not just their head-on-head competing GPU to Blackwell, but their rack integrations, their open source software. So look, they've got a long ways to go. NVIDIA's got 90% of the GPU market share for data center. But OpenAI, potential contracts. We saw Oracle come out already talk about buying a bunch of these new AMD chips. There's rumors of further collaboration with AWS. So, yeah, I think the upside is there for AMD in the second half of this year, and that's the way I'm positioning. Starting to buy call contracts in July and August, which I intend to roll forward, as we go later in the year. So
yeah, and I've been buying them for next week. Let's hope it works out.
Just to finish the, I think that's too short personally, but and for just to round out the valuation, it's trading at a third of the multiple of Nvidia. So there's plenty of room there as well in terms of multiple expansion. So
Nice.
it's been a laggard for forever, and I faded it. I've just kept ignoring it. But breaking the 200-day moving average, suggested to me that maybe there is a four-pillar thing going on here with sentiment, with catalysts, with fundamentals, and with technicals, and
Yeah.
looks to be the case.
Well, I banked on it last week. It was a big reason why I had a 7% data new highs for the year 2 days
A little
ago.
consolidation of that 9% move we saw 2 days ago, which is
Yeah.
essentially what we're seeing today. Especially against this backdrop of geopolitical concerns, isn't at all surprising to me.
Yeah.
But, the Marvell numbers just again, and the commentary out of their analyst day, just again, it made me more bullish to add even more AMD this morning.
Awesome. Let's see. I hope we close above 75.68. That's in that gap. If we close above 75.68, I guess we're going to need FOMC to cooperate and the market reaction to cooperate. If we did close above that, I think 83 might come fast on Marvell. All right. Let's see what else is going on. Just pointing out IMRX, which we just talked about a second ago, trying to break to a new high above 230. We'll see if that happens. Man, I got regrets on AOI. I jumped all over this on June 12th when they had some news that looked to me superficially as like an inflection point news, bringing back a prior customer. And it didn't work out, but I held on to it. And then by June 16th, we had that green, and I was able to sell for a profit. I'm kicking myself, man, I should have held a little bit more. Look at the day today on AOI. I have a feeling you kept a little bit through this whole thing.
Well, I've kept it all actually because
there you go.
I had such a tiny position, so not at all emotional about it. But again, it plays into the same thing, right? Like this is AI related data center hardware, optical interconnects, active optical cables, all the rest of it. So look, it's on the low quality end of the spectrum, but low float, high short interest. It's what I call the sizzle on the steak. Keep the position small. It's like a barbell. You own Marvells and you own the AMDs of the world on the one side, and you have a little bit of exposure to some of these smaller names.
All right.
Huge spike on cores. Huge.
No way.
Candle.
No way.
Yeah,
I still got a big position in this, baby.
So do I.
Is there any news on that? Let me check Benzinga Pro.
I'm not sure, but while you're looking at that, I got to mention Capricorn here because sitting at 1250, any scenario where their AdCom meeting, gets back on the agenda, the stock sold off because basically the FDA came out and said, hey, we need a little bit more time to put the AdCom meeting, which was scheduled for July 30th, back on the agenda. And people immediately sold first and asked questions later, which is, I think, the wrong move. Everything is on track for their PDUFA in August. August 31st is the date for that. This is a regenerative cell therapy that RFK is bullish on. The only FDA-approved therapeutic in the market for Duchenne muscular dystrophy is Sarepta, which is now essentially suspended. The stock was down 40-50% on Monday when that news came out of the second death due to acute liver failure. So look, this is a $30 plus name on a fair value basis. I know there's, it's supposedly binary going into an FDA decision, but you can hedge those odds by looking at the track record of the way the FDA has treated this. They essentially said, forego giving us your phase 3 data, file your BLA, it was basically an invitation for approval. Every single designation that they could possibly get, they have: orphan drug designation, rare pediatric disease designation, RMAT, which is regenerative medicine active therapy designation. They just got an orphan drug designation for Becker's DMD. So everything is in line here. There's just some uncertainty in the market. By this uncertainty, it's an incredible opportunity at 1250.
Awesome. Good stuff there. All right. Anything else you want to mention, Rhett? Is there anything you want to bring up?
No, that's pretty much it. You guys covered all my stocks. The only other one was, hold on, I'm trying to pull it up, was Tesla. I was watching. I haven't checked out what that has done recently. Not too bad.
We got FOMC at 2 p.m. and we haven't even mentioned it. Isn't that beautiful? When was the last time? And maybe we should mention it. I feel like going back and looking at these indices, we've been in kind of a more aggressive stock picking mode ever since QQQ SPY broke above the 200 DMA, and I've been less concerned. It's been hard. It's been hard to ignore the geopolitical and the macro, and I'm not always successful at doing it. I've gotten shaken out on individual these red dates with these more macro headlines, but for the most part, underlying that, I've had very strong conviction that it's a great stock picking market because we're above the 200 DMA. So a little bit less concerned about FOMC at 2 p.m. But I do have some TLT calls ahead of that, which actually I might sell before 2 p.m. because it's doing well right now. And a little bit of gold calls, but the gold calls are really more in geopolitical stuff. Godfather, what do you think? Do you care about this too?
I think it's a non-event because if you look at the Fed Fund futures, we're essentially down to one rate cut, which is essentially what I've been saying since the beginning of the year. And I think, the dot plot and these other things that they're going to talk about, he's going to talk about uncertainty. He's going to do absolutely nothing. And the Fed Fund futures are not going to change from this one rate cut. So we are going to see further steepening in the yield curve as we go into, the second half of this year. Look, the capital flows and the liquidity in the market are good. If we get an additional rate cut, all it's going to do is boost that. So, I think the market is now, in line with where Powell is. So, unless he comes out, extremely more hawkish, which I don't see, or extremely more bullish, or bear or dovish, which I don't see, it's going to be a complete non-event.
But you never know. You got to react rather than predict when it comes to this kind of stuff. So we'll definitely tune in and see what he says. IMRX new high of day at 231, so that's working out over here. I did pick up some Zim as a hedge on the war here. It's been underperforming. Zim is a war stock, so if you go to my war defense list, Zim is up there, and it's one of the only ones that really has not been acting, well. It got a little bit of a pop, but I saw that underperformance and this increased chatter about the Strait of Hormuz. Last night, or it was early this morning, a former economic minister of Iran said that they're going to do a partial closure of the Strait of Hormuz. Basically, you have to have permission slip from Iran to go through the Strait of Hormuz is what he said. So I picked up some Zim on that catalyst. And anyway, I hear, I haven't looked at it independently, but I hear the shipping rates have been rising over the last month since their last ER report and their guidance. So a little bit of war hedge here. It's working right now. That's Zim. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
I'm not playing Zim. I've been playing, the volatility trade, which you obviously have to keep very close tabs on because it moves very quickly. And when that started to weaken, I got out quickly. KTOS has been our number one defense pick.
I wish I'd been trading it. I own it, but I own it long term.
So, I at least have been playing that on a barbell with the high quality company, the KTOS on the one end, and then trading around UMAC on the other side for drones. One of our subscribers in the Discord mentioned this company LASR, which I dug into over the last couple of days, and very interesting. I actually wasn't aware that Israel had an Iron Beam initiative in addition to an Iron Dome initiative. With Rafael. In fact, they just expanded it by $550 million, and this thing is supposed to be operational by the end of 2025. I'm sure they wish it was now, but
Oh, the Iron Beam is together with this company, LASR?
Yeah, it's using high energy lasers to effectively do the same thing, intercept missiles.
But is this a separate product than Iron Beam, or
It's a separate product?
Oh,
No, they are contributing the laser technology. They're a subcontractor to Raphael, which
oh wow, oh interesting.
So it costs like $3 per interception. Has a range of up to 10 kilometers. It can neutralize targets within 4 seconds of laser contact. It's like something out of Star Wars, where they basically focus these high energy lasers. And look, there are two huge initiatives. There's one called the M-SHORAD. There's another one called the HELSI, but essentially they basically do the same thing. One is a directed energy short range air defense system. One is a high energy scaling initiative, which is like 500 kilowatt lasers. These are lasers that they point at enemy surveillance and communication satellites. These are lasers that are mounted on aircraft for their protection. It's protecting them against drones, incoming projectiles, base stations, like I just talked about with this Iron Dome or Iron Beam initiative.
Very cool. I was looking at the Iron,
Yeah, so it's not an inexpensive name. The stock has run from sort of this $14 range to about 19 when they reported their first quarter. But the reason it has is because their defense business is now their largest business. It was commercial, and commercial laser side has been relatively stagnant. But their defense business, which is underpinned by this $170 million contract where they're a subcontractor to Lockheed Martin for the HELSI program, was up 150%. And they doubled their gross margins as well. They're now at operational cash flow break even. They have a net cash of 100 million. If you put the KTOS multiple on it, for example, you get something that's in the mid 20s. So I've been looking for something other than UMAC to kind of play as a speculative smaller cap name. This thing has a market cap or an enterprise value of around 900 million. So I took a small position in that. It's going to trade on sentiment with what's going on overseas, of course, but a very interesting name.
Very cool. Yes, I've been researching Iron Beam. But yes, Ryan, actually, I want to ask you here. There's a comment here. IMRX Mizuho outperformed 10 just now, but it wasn't just now.
It was not just now. I actually broke that earlier.
Right.
I didn't break it. I talked about that earlier. There were several upgrades here.
Yes.
You had Chardon maintaining a buy going to 13, and Mizuho price target raising from 8 to 10.
He did have that early. Yeah. So what I want to ask you, how do we get his Benzinga Pro allow people to get these like early? How do you get that on Benzinga Pro?
I just looked in the news feed for this. So when I noticed that IMRX was moving here today, I basically just clicked on the news, and that stuff was there as of 7 a.m. this morning. So
it was?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
7:02 and 7:36.
Oh, there it is. I see. Well, I see. Yeah. I see it at 10:46 on Mizuho, 7:49 Needham, 7:02 Chardon. Yeah, I see those there.
There you go. All right. Good stuff here today, folks. It looks like you guys are still hot. Really good trading action here. Any closing words for the week?
I mean, tomorrow we're off, right? So
tomorrow we're off. What do you guys? So let me ask you about that. What do you guys think of these midweek holidays? You like it?
Definitely very strange.
Hate it.
Godfather hates it. I wasn't even surprised. I was expecting that answer. What do you guys think is going to happen on Friday? You think it's going to be light, volatile? People
I don't know. I think tomorrow's. Like normally with FOMC, by the end of the day you get a trend, right?
Yep.
And that trend usually goes into the next day, usually. But now with the day,
it's going to be noisy because it's quad witch as well.
With the stay off, and then you got the geopolitical concerns, the timing. If America goes into the war, I think it might be on before Friday. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat that you are. We'll see how it all shakes out. Nonetheless, with all of the confusion, good stuff. Good job breaking it all down.
Awesome. Thank you so
Right.
much. We'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week. That's Rhett, Godfather, and Ben from Story Trading. Folks, they have been awesome. Really good stuff there. I'm going to send you over to Kevin now for Futures Fever. Yes, we will be streaming the FOMC on this channel later. It's going to be the big event of the day, so don't miss that. Off to Futures Fever right now. We'll see you on Friday with no trading tomorrow. Stay green, stay safe.